Hello, welcome to the Heavily Altered Podcast.
No.
Sorry, were you going to introduce us?
So we do this, Luke, for the last, what, 27 episodes we've recorded of this
27?
currently 17 episode podcast. Naimur has always started first.
Yeah.
So let's roll it back a few
Do
seconds.
you, Luke? Do you? No, do you, Luke? No, take the reins.
Yeah, let's see how this goes.
Hey, I'm sorry. This is a lot of pressure. Welcome to the little boys.
And he couldn't deliver, fellas.
And he couldn't do it. He couldn't do it.
Couldn't deliver. He couldn't
Luke,
deliver.
this is why we
hello,
have
welcome to the Heavily Altered
assigned
Podcast.
roles.
It's
Go ahead.
episode 18, right?
Yes, it is.
I don't know. I always forget. Daniel tells us right before. I completely
Oh, it's
forget.
18. It's 18.
Episode.
I'm Naimur.
Scrolls to YouTube channel to double check it's 18.
Yeah.
Yes, it
I'm
is
Naimur,
18.
also known as ya boy Spacey P. Bada bing, bada
Spicy
boom.
P? You could have
Donkey
picked
Kong,
any
King
letter
Kong.
and you picked P. Spicy P.
I don't think think
Yeah.
it was a letter that he said. I think it was the word.
P-E-A?
P-E-E.
The one time you actually
Oh,
want to
okay.
know grammar is this time, really? This is what you want to fight about?
Well, my name is Daniel.
Well,
And
my name is. Oh, okay.
I wasn't finished introducing myself, okay?
Well, you can.
this is
left a
rude.
pretty big.
This is quite rude.
You left a
We're
pretty-
taking like 40
you left
seconds
the-
for us to introduce each other. Let's get
You
on
left
with
a
the
pretty.
show.
You left a pretty
ladies and
pregnant
gentlemen.
pause there, sir. So how could you not expect me
Oh
to
my
introduce
God,
you?
This is terrible. This is already bad. We should just stop and never record a podcast ever again.
So how was your guys' week?
Okay.
Oh my god. man.
You're forgetting somebody. My name is Luke. They call me.
Cool.
Sometimes.
All right. So, Daniel, what were you saying?
I was just asking you guys how
Just
your
kidding.
how your how your week has been. I
Daniel,
feel
you've
like it's
been with me all week. You've
No,
been with me
'cause
all
here's
week.
the
You know
thing.
how my week has been.
I know how your week has been. I was
Daniel,
gonna
romantic lovers, you know how my week
I was
has
gonna
been.
I was gonna
You are
a-
my week.
I was gonna add. It feels this last week has felt like 2.5 weeks long to me. It's just the amount of like.
Oh, mine's
stress
the
I
opposite.
have.
It felt really fast for me. Maybe it's because, like, I don't know. So, first of all, yeah, it was relatively easy week. I had a test.
Mm.
Oh, I don't know if I want to talk about this. It's not, like, inappropriate or anything. It's just, like, I don't know. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. No, I'm not going to talk
Who
about
would
it.
get
I'll
in
talk about it
trouble?
off, like-
Who would get in trouble?
I don't know.
Okay, fair enough.
I feel like
we'll
saying the
Okay.
name of who would get in trouble is worse than just talking about the story
talk-
anonymously.
we'll talk about it later. We'll talk
Okay,
about it later.
we'll talk about
it
off
later.
camera. Or, and then we'll
That's
talk
a
about it
little
on the podcast
tease for
when
you
I-
guys. It'll be in our
Years down the
bonus
road.
footage that we never
no.
release.
I actually have a good story.
Oh.
Did we talk about this last week?
Depends on what it is and what the story is.
Yeah, I don't
You might have told
remember.
us.
Okay, so I was walking back from class one day, okay,
Mhm.
and I had my headphones in, and I was like, and there's this area. It's kind of like a town square. Like, it's like the type of area where like a Steven Crowder would sit and be like the change my mind type thing, right?
Mm.
So like just think of that type of area.
Already
Like,
Oh,
starting
is
out
it the
great.
the SLUT shaming woman?
No.
No, is that someone else? Okay. All right.
No, this happened to me. No, it's not even that big of a deal.
Okay.
But so I was just walking back from class, and, I guess it was some club of some kind was there. You know, they had their posters, stuff like that.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, whatever. I was walking, and then I see one of the dudes just point at me, right? He's by himself. He just points at me. He's wearing like a blue shirt. And he just points at me. I'm like,
You.
what? And so I take off my headphones. I'm like, can I help you? And he said, I want to pray for you. And then I was like, I want to pray for you. Because, I'm just trying to be, like, nice.
Mm-hmm. And you're
Yeah.
Muslim.
And then I, like, walk up to him. Yeah, sure. And then I walk up to him, and I'm like, or he's just asking, like, so, Naimur, what do you want me to pray for you for? And I'm, like, saying, I don't know, like, just good things, I guess. Just, a good life, whatever. Just everything going well. Nothing going wrong, really. And then, he's just asking me, he's like, are you a follower in Jesus Christ? And I said, I was going to lie and say yeah, but then I felt like that'd be, like, redundant or just, like, like,
And then,
Lying.
whatever. And I was just like,
Don't you
actually,
know?
no. I'm a Muslim. My parents are also Muslim as well. It's just, where I grew up and stuff like that, or just how I was raised. And then he's like, yeah, it's like, so I ask you this: when
oh,
you pray to Allah, or Allah, does it worry you the idea of cosmic bean counting? Or like he didn't say that at first. He said basically like the idea of thinking about the number of good deeds you've done versus the number of bad deeds you've done. Okay, and I'm like, I mean, me personally, like not really. I just feel like I just have to do the best I can. I just have to hope that the good outweighs the bad, and that's just how I live. And for me, religion's personally what I do in this life, primarily. It's a benchmark of how I should act and be a better person here. And if I get into heaven, and it's a bonus, but it's like it's primarily just be a good person is what I'm trying to be, right? I don't want to force it on anyone either. It's not my place to do any of that stuff. But for me personally, that's how I see religion. And so I told him that, and he was like, yeah, I understand that. He kind of discards it. He's just saying like, yeah, it's just like, to me, that stuff stresses me out. It feels like, and he talks about like how he went to a mission trip in Kenya, and he's talking about how in like Kenya, like the people there, the bartering system is basically they're just like, let's just say it's this price, right? So it's a different price for everyone. So it's not the same price for everyone, and that's how they scam tourists and stuff like that. And he was saying like, to me, that's what like these good deeds versus bad deeds counted feels like, right? It's like we don't know what one good deed is worth. So is every good deed worth the same? Is one good deed better than the other? How much is a bad deed? It's like we don't know. He's like, this cosmic bean counting just is, it's not like, I just don't like it, And he was talking about like death. He was just like, because for better or for worse, you are going to die. People will die, and I just, it's like
the good old fear tactic.
This idea.
I love that one.
I don't know. He wasn't being mean.
No, I
anything.
know. I know. A lot of
it
them
generally
are
was
really
a pretty
nice,
enlightening conversation. It just felt like,
Are you Christian? Now?
I could tell where it was going. And so for the moment, I like started hearing him talk. I knew where it was going, and then he was just basically saying, it was like, Jesus Christ, he's possibly he's lived the most perfect life on earth, right? Like, he's so perfect that he split 2 timelines, which theoretically he's correct, right? Like AD and BC, right?
I mean, if you're looking at it with a zoomed out perspective, like if you actually look at the dates, it's not exactly where it happened, but we'll let the history.
But also,
slide.
That doesn't imply that he was perfect, though. It just implied that his death marked a really big changing point in human history.
I guess.
Didn't he technically live from the years of like 2 AD to like 36?
29,
not 36 AD.
Because
it's like this. Yeah. But you know what I mean. It was this period.
Well, that's why they
20s,
changed it to
70s.
BCE, right? Like,
Yeah.
That's what they did. But
anyway, you do know BCE
besides
is
the point.
before Common Era. So it's still not like...
Yeah, but that's why they changed the name, the term.
Yeah.
Instead
You're
of
right,
before
yeah.
Christ.
So people don't
I think. I don't know.
No, you're right, Naimur, yeah. That is
Okay,
right.
anyway.
that makes sense.
So, so basically he just keeps talking about, like, he's talking about Jesus Christ, how great of a person he is. And, he's like, so, like, how do you, like, for a bad person, like, how does he, like, if he's trying to generally be good, like, how do they try and get into heaven? And I'm much like, I mean, you just have to hope, like, redemption, right? Like, I hope, God's obviously the most forgiving person, at least we like to think so. That, if we in our hearts try our best and our intention behind every action is good, then maybe it is good, right? And then he was just, like, saying, yeah, like, I understand. And then he just basically gives me this super long out explanation, right, that I was just mentioning before. And he was just basically saying, like, if you accept, not me, he's not saying, like, he's just saying, like, the great thing about Christianity is that if you just accept and believe in Jesus Christ, that, you will go to heaven. Or, like, he will take you to heaven. He'll grant you there.
It'd be great if all Christians felt that way.
Honestly,
because there are so many denominations, Naimur, that take that one step further, and it's like, I don't care if you believe, like, if you're not a good person, like, you're not going. And it's like, okay, I mean, once again, it just goes back to exactly the position we already were in. I also don't...
I was going to say...
go ahead, Luke. You go first. I
was going to say, I hate the argument that if you just believe in God, you'll go to heaven, because it kind of invalidates the whole point of things like confession and stuff like that. Because if you go and murder 55 people, but you believed in God, you're going to heaven.
Exactly.
I understand.
And
so
obviously,
me,
I'm not
right,
religious. I don't believe in any God, except for myself. But
that one's really gonna tick some people out.
I have a lot of gripes with organized religion.
Yeah, I mean,
I do
for
too.
Sure understand that too. I'm more than anyone, right? Like I've received so much persecution for just being Muslim, right? Like,
yeah, that's fair.
there's one thing to judge the actions of few and label it as an entire group. But for me, like, this guy, like, he wasn't being mean or anything. He wasn't forcing me or anything like that. Like, he was genuinely, like, he seemed like a nice dude. And so, like, and then he just kept saying, like, stuff. And then, again, he wasn't, like, saying, like, if you just believe in Jesus Christ. He was just saying more things like that. It's just, like, if you forgive or plead for his forgiveness, he died so that you guys could do this stuff and yada, yada, and stuff like that. And the thing was annoying because my, so I was playing Do, right? So I had a time window, right? So on my way back to, like, from class to my dorm, my roommate was doing, like, an interview for something, right? So I basically had to not be there during that time, right? Mm-hmm. But the thing is, so my class ends, and, like, I have a 30-minute window if I get into my dorm, so I could get food and eat there, and then I could, like, you know, like, at least, like, just chill, right? So I'm like, okay, that'd be nice. And so I'm walking, and then this conversation, it takes, like, 30 minutes. I'm like, I can't do this. Like, I literally can't go back. So I literally just, like, walked around for, like, an hour or two, just waiting for him to finish his interview.
Man,
that was, like, the only inconvenient thing. But I was
Christians.
Just like,
no, I'm just
yeah, but I was just like, you know, like, or I just said, thank you for the conversation. I have to get to class, even though I didn't have to go to class. But I just said,
well, yeah, I
have to
mean,
get to class.
Yeah.
I will generally think about these things. And I kind of have. Not like, it's not like a day and night, I can't sleep thinking about this type
but
of stuff.
it is something that stays on your mind because it's an experience that happened. I think something that I had a very similar experience. Well, not that all that similar, because I reacted entirely differently. I was leaving the Union.
This has happened
campus.
to both of us. I think it's the
It's
same
happened
people
to you?
too.
Okay,
yeah.
But I don't know how you reacted, so I'd like to hear how you reacted. I think I told you, Luke. They walked up to me, and I had music playing in, and they like, again, like, they like walked towards me, and they were like looking right at me, and they got really close, and I was like, oh, they must be like talking to me. Take my headphones out, and they're like, hi, our names are blank and blank, and I was like, oh, okay, my name's Daniel, how can I help you? And then they're like, so we're with the, you know, this group of people. It had Christian in the name. It was like some Christian organization, right? And they're like, and we wanted to ask if you were interested in learning about the Bible or Christianity. And I literally just said, no, thank you. I'm not interested. Put my headphones in and just kept walking. Just because I could sit there and have that conversation, but
I was doing it out of a politeness thing. I wasn't even doing it because, like, I wanted to genuinely be a right. Anything. I was just like, oh, he called to me. I'm the one dude that got caught into this because I could tell, like, people were like looking at me as they were walking by, because you know, I was like, oh my god, I'm that dude. Like, like, you know,
you're the one guy that stops and listens.
yeah, exactly. Right?
Like, dork who takes the time out of his day to listen to. Yeah.
Again, there's nothing wrong with their cause. I just want to preface that.
No, yeah,
there's nothing wrong. He was a totally nice dude. You know, very interesting, like, conversation. You know, just
so. Yeah. Luke, how did you?
It was an experience. I'll say that.
Yeah. How did you respond to, like, when that happened to you? I assume
basically
similar
these
to
two.
what I did.
We don't know if it's the same two people, but I think it might be. But they basically came up to me and said, "Hey, what's your name? Where blah blah blah?" And I said, "Oh, I'm Luke." And they said, "Oh, okay, Luke, we'll be praying for you." And I was like, "Okay, thanks. Me too."
Stole my line.
I'll be praying for myself too.
Stole my line.
And then they basically just walked away. So they left the conversation. I didn't.
I low key.
They're like, look at this dude. He's a Christian.
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't want to be a like a jerk to these people, but it'd be kind of funny to see their reaction if you just told them, "Oh, I'm not interested. I'm a Satan worshiper." Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
I'm sure they've gotten so many worse insults. Like, I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, probably.
They probably talk to thousands of people over time.
That's true.
It's like they probably like get nothing from that.
The thing is, though, like, people like not people like these
it's
people. They were.
I'm sure these people. There's a pipeline from these people to, like, sales jobs.
Yeah,
you know, car salesmen. Stuff like
yeah, you're probably right.
There's gotta be. You go ahead, Luke. What you're saying?
I was just gonna say, not specifically the people that we've been talking about, but people who go around, like, trying to convert people. That's just got to be the most embarrassing job in the world. You know,
with the amount of
like,
people
how do they not realize?
Yeah.
How do they not realize that everybody hates them? Every single person that they speak to.
I don't think hates. I think everyone is uncomfortable, or a lot of people are uncomfortable around them.
Like, Daniel, do you remember? Maybe I was talking to Val about this, but the ticket counter or whatever, we were walking past somebody who was doing, like, tickets at the car, like the parking violation people. Yes. I was like, how do you think it feels to be that guy and have every single person on the entire campus dislike you?
I told Luke, nobody actually knows the guy's name or anything. Well, I mean, there are people that know his name. He obviously has friends, but his friends aren't the ones who know that he is the ticket master. Probably don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not.
Yes.
Anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's hard to hate on somebody that's kind of just this imaginary entity to us.
Yeah, I personally like. What am I trying to say? Yeah, it's a weird job. Like thinking about like. So it sounds like pointless, but like. Remember when we read Things Fall Apart in sophomore year of high school?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, it's basically a book about
is that Chinua Achebe?
European. Yeah, Chinua Achebe. It's a European. It's basically from the perspective of a tribe and primarily a leader of an African tribe that he basically faces European colonization happening.
Yeah, these missionaries come and they try and convert the town, basically, the village.
Yeah, they basically make a church nearby, and then slowly this town basically like a lot of these people change. I just remember like one of the passages, it's like a conversation he has with the priest is so interesting, like to me. Yeah, it's like I generally understand like the whole idea of like the religious what's the idea? It's just passing on the religion and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also weird, right? It's like when we, like, since probably 6th grade, we've been always taught that exploration and colonization is for 3 reasons: God, gold, and glory.
Mm-hmm.
It's just so weird to me, right? Like, isn't that weird?
A little bit.
The 3 Gs.
But then
because it sums it up really well.
Yeah, it really does.
That just makes it more stupid, right? Like, that's so stupid to me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the reasons that they did it are stupid? Like, if you really look at it, it's like,
sufficed into these 3 reasons.
Why did you waste so much time and money doing this if it was just for, like, I want more stuff?
I'm not advocating what U.S. colonization is doing or anything like that. But at least it's more complicated now, where it's like, oh, we're just trying to throw this regime so we can get oil, or, we can get, like...
I don't know if it's actually that much.
It's actually kind of worse. It's just worse. It's like, oh, we want cheaper taxes for tariff exports, so we're gonna de-seat this democratic leader, or what do you call it? Like, we need oil.
I think it's hard to judge whether it's better or worse, but I think it's interesting to compare. Back then, the amount of damage that they were doing was more obvious, if you asked me, where it's nowadays it's much more subtle in how they're like.
It's like they're planting the seed within the people themselves.
It's much easier to deny now, because you could just say that no, they didn't install that guy. He just rose to power by himself, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like Inception. Oh, you guys, I forgot. You guys haven't seen Inception.
No, we have not.
Yeah. No.
Well, the whole idea is you can't just tell someone in a dream to do something. They have to have that idea in the dream themselves.
Yeah.
Right.
In order for them to truly do it in real life, right? So it's kind of like they're planting the seedling in the people so that then they do it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay, this is a weird... I don't know.
I wanted to say... I've talked to... No, I wanted to continue the conversation, if that's okay with you guys. I've talked to Daniel about this before, but I think having an all-powerful, all-knowing... good God is just fundamentally
omnibenevolent. There's your final word there for you.
Fully benevolent, yeah. God is just inherently hypocritical in the world that we live in because evil exists, right? So if God was really good and he really could do anything and he really knew everything, then he would stop evil from happening. And then people bring up free will, and then I say, well, if God can do anything, then he could theoretically make people who are always good with their free will.
Potentially, right? But the idea also becomes more so with not necessarily God can control us. It's more so like, is this a test, right? Like, is this world that we're in just a test?
Yeah, but then if God is all knowing, why does he need a test?
I don't know. It's you've seen God of War, you've seen Thor. Right,
but those gods aren't all-knowing or all-powerful, or even benevolent, completely benevolent,
or even omnibenevolent. I don't know if omnibenevolent is a word, but I'm gonna
definitely not.
I think
I think the ancients got it right, because their gods were imperfect. They were rapists. They were not good people, and that made them more realistic to me.
Yeah,
I do.
I
actually agree with you on how they appear more. I don't know if they obviously appear more human because, like you were saying, they're more imperfect. They feel like they actually have character to them, if that makes sense. Like, especially in religion. I don't know about your religion, Naimur, but I think the Bible specifically says that God is unchanging forever.
Yeah.
And so it means like everything he does is exactly who he is always. And then people are like, except for the Old Testament. But also the Ten Commandments from the Old Testament are okay. I was going to add to this conversation, the thing that I like to bring up whenever we have this conversation is just, and this is more for the audience because I've already told you guys this before, the Ricky Gervais joke. I don't know if he's the first one to create it. I think he heard somebody else make the joke, and he doesn't know who originally created it. But I heard it from him, and the joke goes, a man walks up to God in heaven after recently dying. And he says, God, hey, you want to hear a joke? And God responds, sure, I guess. And so the man basically tells God a Holocaust joke, right? And God is sitting there in silence, not laughing, right? Clearly it was in poor taste. And the guy says, I guess you just had to have been there. Which I think just kind of sums up, like, okay, Luke's reaction is... I just wanted to tell the audience that joke, because I think it's a funny joke that I think, like, tackles this issue where it's like, if he... Yeah, it's that question of, like, if he is all-knowing and all-powerful and... benevolent, then
to me it's I think
happen?
religion is dependent on the individual and how they perceive God to be, right? So for me personally, I don't know the answers. I don't want to talk definitively. I don't think that's fair to anybody, right? Like I it's also kind of cocky, you know? It's just like, oh, my religion's the one true thing, right? It's like,
yeah, I hate that.
I understand, you know, there's different points of views, right? And like for me it's like there's got to be something out there, maybe like controlling something. I don't know about controlling, but, you know, or at least something was put so that these rules in place or just anything. And again, religion primarily to me, you know, I believe in science. I believe in all these things. I believe the Big Bang. I believe all that stuff. For me, religion, again, is just like a basis, especially in Islam, where there are these bases to be a better person, right? Like, you know, 5 pillars, you're supposed to donate money and all these things every now and then fast. So you feel like what it's like to be in poverty once a year or like a month out of a year and stuff like that. And again, people pick and choose, and I obviously probably pick and choose as well. So nobody's perfect when it comes to that. But for me, it's also like the idea of like what God represents to you, right? So like when you see like the conservative Midwest like person, they're just like, God will save me through everything, right? So they're just depending on God, right? They don't see the signs in front of them, or they don't see a will in themselves to better themselves, not realizing that that probably is the act of God that they probably perceive, right? So it's like, you know, it's like when people are talking about like, especially at the beginning of the year, right? Like these church ministers and stuff, or like the beginning of COVID, it's like, oh, we're going to keep being open with no mask required because God will protect us. You know, like God, blah, blah, blah. It's like, but like, what if God was the one that instilled the idea of masks, right?
Yeah.
Or like, you know, God had this whole plan to have the mask. You know what I mean? And it's just like, people are like, I don't believe in science. I believe what God wants me to, or that God will carry the way for anything.
As if,
But it's like...
I think
it's like, what if God invented science to help cure the problem that you're having?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's like
he wanted us.
No, I agree with you, Naimur. I wanted to.
And it's like it's the idea of like your paycheck. It's like God will get me. Or like, you know, God has a plan for me.
No, he doesn't.
That doesn't mean you should just sit there and do nothing. That's literally not what that means.
I think
it's like
I just want to. I want to add to that point, Naimur, because you were talking about how you have like the 5 pillars. I think Christianity technically does have fundamentals where it's like, these are the things you should be doing to consider yourself a good... Yeah, the 10 Commandments for one. But there's also lots of like parables and things that teach us like what is the good and the right thing to do. And I genuinely believe that Christianity is the religion that has the most rampant ignorance and disregard of what the actual religion is arguing for. That's why I have a distaste sometimes for organized religion, because it just feels like the only religion I've ever known is one where it feels like everyone just ignores everything that they're supposed to be doing. It's one where people just pick and choose because they want to listen to what they want to and ignore what they don't want to hear. And so for me, that's extremely frustrating when it's people using religion not as a lesson or something to construct their lives, make themselves better, but rather to push agendas or so on and so forth, rake in money, especially those mega churches and things like that. There's just so many things that I see in my own religion that feels like
it's pretty unfortunate, right? Like the idea of religious freedom came probably with like a good will behind it, but it really has like created this sort of disparity between the idea of like what you're truly like believing in versus like what this religion stands for, stuff like that, right? Because politicians effectively do what they do to appease like this religious group that don't even realize why they're religious, or don't like just are religious for the sake of being religious, I guess is the way to put it, or they just grew up like that, right? And so when it comes to this stuff, it's just like the idea of religious freedom, right? Like everybody's talking about, well, I think if it's against your religion to serve gay people, or like to be gay, then I don't think they should have the right, or like I think they should have the right to not serve them or do something for them. And I'm just like, that's such a dangerous slip. One, because the last 20 years, you guys have proven that like the idea of persecution in America to Islamic people, right? It's like
is fully alive. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, or it's like, it's even in like, like the Muslim travel ban that happened like at the beginning of Trump's presidency within like 20 days.
Yeah.
And then like, it's like when it came to like that stigma people had against people wearing hijabs, like after 9/11 and stuff like that, right? For simply just wearing hijabs. And so it's like all these things. And then, it's like, and then at the same time, they're like, well, I want the religious freedom to not serve gay people, right? It's like, but I'm fine with taking away other religions. And it's like the only problem is because Christianity is the majority in this country, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, the solutions to have a majority Islam or a majority atheist, at least have like a significant split, right? And like, we want to say that there's a split between the church and state, right? But there really isn't. There's not. Like, at least for the most part. And in places like Utah, it literally isn't. It's like integrated in the government. The government is integrated with the church. And so like with these things like that, it's just, it's scary. Like that's why I think like the idea of religious freedom, it depends, right? Like what if I have the religion where I just don't want to interact with minorities? I think we talked about this.
Yeah, we did. We've talked about this.
Yeah, I was like, I just don't want to interact with minorities of any kind at all whatsoever. It's my religious choice.
I just want to say,
and that was a thing, right? Like was that not a thing?
Yes, Mormons used to believe in that.
Is that what you were going to say? Is that what you were going to say?
Mormons used to believe that black people were cursed by the devil, or descendant of a man who was cursed by the devil.
It's crazy how much people forget, right? Like during the civil rights era, a lot of white people were just like, I like black people should exist, and they should like they should be fine. It's just not my choice to deal with them, right? Like that's my religion. Like in religion, I just don't want them, right? Like because God wants us to be pure in our own ways, right? Like we don't want them to confine and mix with us and like in our churches. Everybody forgets that. Everybody forgets that. Nobody really realizes that. Same thing as nobody realizes that the civil rights or the statues of Confederate leaders, a lot of them were made during the civil rights movement.
We literally
we talked about this
earlier this week. The naming of all of the Confederate high schools and middle schools, all the schools that have like Confederate general names, a lot of them happened during the integration of schools.
Yeah.
Like
so specifically
it's quite obvious it's not history. It's just oppression taking place
tactic.
That has just lasted. Yeah, exactly. People are quick to forget.
That was a pretty heavy stretch of our podcast. I think it's a good stretch,
I like that conversation.
Tackled religion. And that was just because I had a interaction with someone that was very religious.
Yeah.
I just want to say last thing too. It's like, again, it's compared to like the religious aspect, the only time I had or experience I had before that is in high school. I forgot when during our high school term. There was a group of anti-abortion protesters that just showed up, and they were like, I don't know, they were very religious, and they were just like, there's photos of dead fetuses they were holding and stuff like that, and saying God does not condone murder and abortion is murder, all this thing like that. And then like I just remember having to drive through that like every day. Yeah. And then like people were getting pestered.
I think we should talk about this a little more than just because I want to like. Not about the issue itself, but about the way they are going about it. Because I think, perfectly fine to believe whatever you want to believe. Like we've said, with religious beliefs and all that, to a certain extent. If you're
yeah,
exactly. If your religious beliefs are I need to kill minorities, what the heck is wrong?
Or discriminate of any kind, or like hurt anybody of any kind. It's like no, that's not
but
right.
Protesting to high school students in a relatively affluent area where we don't have a high rate of teen pregnancies. Literally, I don't know why they were there. They were there to start a fight.
They do that at every high school.
It was.
They do that at every high school.
Yeah, they went to every high school in the area.
Yeah. I know they do. I just found it clearly. I don't think they're there for the right intentions. They want to feel right, so they're there to prove
they wear body cameras
that
and then start like harassing high school students that are like going up there, and then they record it on their website or whatever.
There are like 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18-year-olds.
We weren't even 16 or 17 at that point.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, I was like 15 or 16
our school was our grade was the oldest grade at the school.
There's literally no seniors.
15, maybe.
How many? There was no seniors or juniors. Is that correct?
No seniors or juniors. Yeah.
So
because our school was new at the time.
They're just talking to freshmen and sophomores.
14 and 15-year-olds. Yeah.
And, and maybe some 16-year-olds. It's ridiculous. Yeah. It's like borderline harassment of these children. Like
you were 16
we were 16, but we were.
Okay.
Daniel was 15.
But it was only a couple of us
young boy
that were 16.
I just personally, regardless of their argument, I did not want to see a dead fetus before school. I'm gonna be honest. I did not want to see that.
You to believe
that is why. No, that is why.
No, they want.
It's like, if you don't want to see the dead fetus, then believe in pro-life.
I have the same argument against liberals or whatever, or Democrats or feminists that say kill all men, kill all white people. Like I know. And now I'm just going to talk about them because I'm going to go on a tangent because I hate those people. I know you're kidding. I know you're just talking about the toxic men and the toxic wife, the rapists and the racists and stuff. But that doesn't stop that a 14-year-old doesn't recognize the irony in that statement. That 14-year-old will grow up to be,
radicalized.
Radicalized. Yeah. He'll radicalize himself to the right.
14-year-old simp that can have a girl. Yeah.
Well. But anyway, it's like they're pushing people away from their ideology. That's how I was going to relate to
a long time ago.
For sure.
Or like in previous podcasts, I talked about this too, where I was just like, I think it's also a problem on the person or like on the male, where it's like if you believe like they truly mean you, then like that's like a. That's like
right, but I'm talking about these 13 and 14-year-old boys.
I do think it's a slippery. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm talking about these 13, 14-year-old boys who don't recognize the irony, who their brains haven't fully developed to recognize irony yet.
Or
like they see themselves being targeted, even if it's only these certain types of white people or men or whatever.
Yeah.
They see themselves.
They
see these people saying that they want to kill them, and then they turn the other way and walk or they go to the other side of the political spectrum. I was running with the metaphor of turning around.
For me, more so, it's the idea of it's a slippery slope with free speech, right? Like if you say stuff like that, because. I'm starting to realize, I think, this is just maybe how people just talk. They just say, like, all blank because...
No, you're right.
That's just
it's part of human behavior,
But it doesn't make it okay. It's, like, easier to say stuff like that. It's like, kill all men instead of just saying, oh, kill that one really creepy, rude, violent dude.
Kill toxic men.
Like defund the police. That's a really crappy slogan for the movement, right? It's similar.
It's a slippery slope with free speech, right? Because when you just say one kind, just all, and again, we're males, so it may seem like we're just being biased and like we're gamer culture, or whatever. But it's like it's the same thing saying with like, if you just say all women are, I don't know, I don't even want to say it, but just all women are like bad. Let's just say that, right? Like,
all women gossip. All women are consumerists or stuff like that.
I was gonna say the S word.
Yeah.
Which isn't that bad.
Luke spelled it out earlier. If that makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But all women are bad. Let's say that, right? And it's like I'm not even gonna talk about the fact that let's say women were angry. Right? Let's pretend women weren't even. They didn't care. Right? Like they were like. They dished it out, so they dealt with it when it came to them. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It's still a slippery slope, right? Because then what if it comes to another group, right? Like, oh, all Mexicans, all Hispanics, all, black people, all, this things. It's just, it continues to become a slippery slope with these things. This is how, you have these ideas of racism perpetuate within
people, no, it's
right?
just like what you're saying is like, it starts at kill all men or kill all white people, and it devolves to, and it's dangerously similar. Like, Naimur, you're a believer in the horseshoe theory of politics?
To an extent. I
B-U-L-L-S-H-I-T. But in this case, I think it makes sense. The further left you go, kill all men, kill all white people, and the further white you go, kill all blacks, kill all Muslims, whatever. Dangerously close,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, for me, it's like, it's the idea, like, okay, when I say horseshoe theory,
I know.
that I'm a believer in it. Again, I'm not like a diehard believer.
Yeah.
Okay? I understand there's a complete separate sides, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think to an extent there are certain ideas that it kind of just reverses, right? And it's the complete opposite. I don't think it's a malintent at all. Like, when people say, actually, I don't know about that. Like, when people say you're colorist, right? Because you only date, like, light-skinned people, dark-skinned people, right? Or vice versa. It's like, oh, well, like, and you're a light-skinned or dark-skinned, right? Or it's like, oh, you're a black person, but you only date white people. So that's like, some internalized racism towards, black people. It's like, it's just like, that's kind of, you're just judging someone at that point. You're virtue signaling. Like, why? Like, we got to work on the instrumental steps. It's just like, I don't know. Anyway, that's besides the point. I do understand there is a complete difference, right? Like, I also think it also has to do with the idea of the left in office versus the right in office, right? So, like, the furthest right in office is basically the furthest right that you will see, right? Like, you have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And that's like, that's super alt-right, like, fascist, or borderline fascist, like, all this stuff, right? Like, race baiting, fear-mongering, all that stuff. And then at least in the Democratic point of view, the biggest left you have is Bernie Sanders, who is by far probably the most progressive this country should be, right? Like, for now, right? Or something like that, right? Like, an idea of that left. And, it's like there's a clear night and day difference in office, right? When it comes to the ideologies, of course there's going to be different ones, right? Like, I'm sure there's liberal people that believe nothing should be owned by anyone. The government should take care of everything, and we should just be here and be happy, right? Like, I'm sure there's people that generally just believe that in liberalism or leftism. And then I'm sure there's, maybe there's more right. I think the further right you can go is just being
unregulated. I think you go further right, and it's literally the most unregulated economy possible. No restrictions, no minimum wage.
Well, economic. I'm talking about socially.
Yeah, he's talking about social.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. Okay. So, I guess what were we talking about? Just like, when it came to that group that came to our high school and stuff like that, it's just like, it's
honestly, you're pushing people away from your argument. Like, it's just disturbing as a high schooler.
I honestly don't think they care. I think they're just trying to get.
Oh, they're just trying to get a rise. They're just trying to get attention. Because they think that's a better way to get their message.
So they can come out and say, "Oh, we're persecuted for being Christians," and they didn't.
The war on Christianity.
If you watch the videos, if you watch the it really is. If you watch the videos that they posted on their YouTube channel and stuff, you can see very clearly that they're trying to avoid pointing the camera at the signs of fetuses. You can see very clearly, Yeah. Anyway.
As if they're not trying to provoke people. That's what Luke's getting at.
Felt better for our principal. Yes. Our principal was an OG at that time. He just, like, you could see, or like when the intercom happened, like during that week, he sounded so like dejected and deflated. He's just like, because technically they're on part of the land that isn't considered our high school, so they have the right to stand there.
Yeah.
And they're and there's not really much we can do except just hope that they'll go away soon rather than later.
And then he was like, I encourage you all not to interact with them. And
he sounded so like dejected. It was so funny. It was funny and sad. I just felt bad for him. Obviously, he's like, I think that was just like his first year as principal too. I don't remember. It might have been.
It was first year of just like, being our principal. Yeah. I don't know about
exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know about ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How long has it been?
Did they come back? I don't think they ever came back.
No.
Right? No.
I haven't seen them come back. I mean, also.
It's been okay. Serious topics over. If you only
ended.
If you only have a fetish for religious, political
commentary.
commentary, yeah.
Then get out of here. Get out of here. We don't want you anymore.
GamerCast. Only racism. Only misogyny.
This week, you guys, I got diagnosed with every kind of cancer.
That's not. Why'd you have to start out the gamer segment with that?
No, it's not. We're not actually a gaming segment. We're just going to talk about a much more lighthearted topic. So for me, this week, I finished Mad Men. And I'm going to tell you this. It's really funny. It took me 3 years to finish the show. Not because, I was watching one episode a day for like forever. But because when it came on Netflix.
Rewatching it.
It came on Netflix my junior year of high school. I watched the first 3 seasons. I like watched it at a pretty regular pace, like the first 3 seasons in like a month, which I think is pretty healthy. And then just stopped.
Yeah.
I don't know. For whatever reason, I just didn't like have an inkling to keep going. Actually, I might watch the first 4 seasons now I think about it. Yeah, I think I watched the first 4. Then I just stopped. And then, just like life, whatever. And then, I just never got around back to it, watched other shows. I don't really binge watch to begin with. It's a very rare thing. Like, usually if there's a show I really like, I'll binge watch. But it's really rare. And then, basically quarantine happens, right? Like March last year. And then May, I'm just like, I kind of want to watch Mad Men again. I hear great things about it again. I see these video essays, and I never truly know what happened, right? Because, I never finished it. Right. And I could obviously look it up, but I don't want to. I want to know, for myself.
Sorry, I just remembered I watched something. I'm going to add it to the list.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
And, so then I'm like, okay, let's watch it on Netflix. Not on Netflix anymore. I'm like, are you kidding me? I look it up to see where it's on. Not on anywhere. And it's like, oh, it'll be in... it's going to be bought by Amazon in like July. So it's going to be put on. I'm like, oh, okay, Amazon Prime, that's solid. I have Amazon Prime. No, it's going to be put on IMDb TV where it's free, but there's ads. And there's only a free option. You can't even pay to have no ads, which is the dumbest thing in the world.
My God.
And so, I'm like, I bite the bullet. I'm like, whatever, fine. It's free, whatever. I'm not going to complain. So I start watching it again, pretty entertaining, and then like stop. I like watched 2 episodes, stop. And this is like July at this point. And then I come back for the holidays around Thanksgiving, and I watch like a whole season and a half with my brother. So I watched season 5. There's 7 seasons for you guys that don't know. And I watched season 5 through like the beginning of 6. And then, I just stop again. And then I go back to my dorm. I'm like, you know what? Because I had just finished Malcolm in the Middle. Like, I finished.
Right, you were talking about that
all
last
7
week.
Seasons in like the span of a week. And like in the span of a week, I finished all 7 seasons.
Yikes.
Which is like, I don't know, it's a lot. It's like 22 episodes per season. That's a lot. It's like 150 episodes almost. And then, so I'm like, whatever, I'll watch Mad Men. I've been meaning to get around to this instead of starting a new show. And so I start watching, and the ads, man, the ads are so annoying. It's so ironic watching a show about an agency that does advertisement in the 70s and then watching such crappy ads in between.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just so ironic. But, and then I'm like, there's got to be another way. And unfortunately there is. Apparently there's like an extension or like a channel called AMC Plus that you could get on like Amazon Prime, which I guess it's like you just pay like $8 a month extra or whatever. I just use the free trial. I'll probably cancel it by the end of the week.
Right.
Because that's literally the only thing I want to watch. Breaking Bad's on Netflix if I want to watch it. No, I already set a reminder. Don't worry. I'll stop it.
Okay. All right.
But, yeah. But, so no ads. So I watch like the final season and then, yeah. Nice. So I must say, so it's free. So if you guys don't care about the ads, just watching it.
You're assuming I can watch anything in a week. I don't think I have that time.
Oh, no, don't watch it in a week. Just, if you ever need a show to watch, or a good show to watch, I'd rather say, this is the show. I cannot recommend anything other than Mad Men more. Possibly one of the best shows of all time, I would say. It depends, though. If you only like gore and action and you hate pacing when it comes to that stuff, you hate like the Aaron Sorkin-esque dialogue and stuff like that, don't watch it. Fine. But if you like enjoy those things, like I know you two do, I know you guys love some Sorkin dialogue.
Yes, we do. What did we recently see that had Sorkin? Was it
Social Network?
Yeah, we watched Social Network. Yeah.
Or Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs, probably, right?
No, Social Network had Sorkin, didn't it?
But I don't think
we did watch
Jobs
both.
Sorkin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to say,
but
we watched. Oh, Naimur, were you gonna finish?
Yeah, I just definitely you guys should watch it. And it's a masterful ending. I've watched the ending like multiple times like already, like since I finished it like 2 days ago. It's just so open ended, and the cool thing, the subtext between characters and stuff like that in the show itself. I feel like if I eventually rewatch it again, like that will have like a pretty good meaning to it, right? Like I think just re-looking at stuff and seeing how people's stories end and stuff like that. But it's just it's genuinely a great show. It's amazing. It's a phenomenal show. I think you two, honestly, more than the boys, watch this show. Okay. Please watch the show.
Well, now you're giving me mixed messaging. Now you're giving me first you say watch The Boys, then you say watch Mad Men. Now you say what? Change my poopy diaper? I don't know.
I don't know either, Luke.
Oh my god!
You need to watch Mad Men. Mad Men is amazing. Like, so I say Arthur Morgan's probably the best protagonist in all video games from Red Dead Redemption 2. I genuinely think John Hamm as Don Draper is probably television's best protagonist. That's a hot take because I know people say Walter White, or can you name anybody else? I really don't know besides Walter White.
On TV shows?
Yeah, in television history. Because I do agree, Bryan Cranston as Walter White is amazing too. I will give that. But just Don Draper is just really good.
Oh, Stephen Amell really as Oliver Queen in The Arrow.
The Arrow, the hit TV show on the CW. That's the show that brings in all the money for them.
Or Cole Sprouse as Jughead Jones.
Oh my God! Wait, we didn't. We watched that last week. Like
we didn't watch that last week. I was gonna. Naimur, I have to tell you the TikTok I came up with for that.
He came up with the TikTok.
I came up with a TikTok. Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
The audience isn't gonna get it.
I wanted to say we watched Seven, and that movie was fantastic.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, anything David Fincher.
So good.
Yes.
Anything David Fincher makes.
You know what's funny? I told my parents I watched that movie, and they're like, "Oh yeah, like we watched it." And I was like, "You guys have seen Seven?" Because it didn't seem like a movie they would see, right? And they're like, "Yeah, we used to go to the theaters together. What do you think?" And it I first of all forgot that you could go to a theater, right? I forgot the thought of going to theaters.
Yeah.
And my mom hasn't gone to like a movie in theaters for years because she just prefers. It's just too much. She can't keep track of all the characters nowadays.
And your sister, Daniel.
Yeah, she's just exhausted. I ruined movies for them. But I was like, wait, you guys have seen it? And they're like, yeah. She's like, that's the one where the spoiler warning for just skip 10 seconds, where her head is in the box. What? And I was like, yes, Mom, that's the one. I was so shocked that they had seen it. But I mean, I guess I shouldn't be shocked. It's a great movie. It's like such
that
a
movie
good,
was fantastic.
And the worst crime in the movie was Kevin Spacey all along.
Luke told me, you probably knew this, that he wasn't in any of the promotional material.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
No, Kevin Spacey wasn't in any of the advertisements or promotional material at all.
For a little while, I couldn't tell it was him. Because his shaved hair and how tight his face was, it just it didn't. I guess he was also younger, right? It just didn't look like him. But it's
fun fact. Haven't actually seen the movie. Read the plot on Wikipedia.
Damn it! You need to watch it.
Not because it was bad. Not because it was bad. I felt like it was too scary. Didn't want to watch it.
I don't think it's actually that scary. It's just intense. It has a lot of intense moments that are enjoyable.
It's definitely one of the best movies I've ever seen, if not the best.
I think cinematically,
Fight Club used to get me tense a lot.
Yeah.
When I was younger, when I first watched Fight Club, I watched it in 5th grade, which you should not do. I thought it was gonna be super cool and all these things, but then when it becomes
it's super dark,
an anarchy organization and all that stuff like that, I'm just like, oh my god. I had I didn't have nightmares, but I generally it would keep me up sometimes when I would just think about it.
Yeah.
Or just dream about it.
If you are not above the age of 18, I do not recommend watching Seven. Just want to say that. Or 18 or above, I should say. 18 plus. Don't watch it unless you're...
I don't know about that. If you're 16, 15.
Yeah, 16
I know.
maybe.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
16,
I'm just trying to
16.
I'm trying to warn the audience. There are some very dark graphic moments in it that I'm like, I just don't know. I thought about that movie for 3 or 4 days after. I'm still thinking about it now, just about some of the things that happen. I'm like, oh my God.
The acting in the guy, Daniel, you'll know what I'm talking about. The acting in the guy who they were giving the police interview in after one of the murders. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Oh my God, yes. So one of the victims survived, Naimur?
No, the victim didn't survive, but somebody...
the victim didn't survive, but a witness did. And his acting was so horrifying. That
was the best acting I've ever seen in any extra in my life.
Yeah, I felt genuinely both heartbroken and just terrified because he's just basically what's happening is this guy is reciting what he was forced to do, and it is horrendous and horrible and so shocking because he is just in so much pain afterwards, and it's just like emotional damage and trauma, and God, it's just
funny you say best acting from an extra, because I feel like the finale of Mad Men has a really good extra or acting from an extra, not an extra, but just like, you know, a person that's just there for for a second, like he's literally just in there for that second. It's crazy. Like literally the final episode, there's a monologue from this dude, and it's like an eye-opening like monologue about life, just like how people perceive you, love, like how you're not loved, you know. It's crazy.
That's
it's
interesting.
like, it's genuinely like, I cannot recommend Mad Men enough. You guys need to watch Mad Men.
Naimur, you need to watch
Honestly,
BoJack Horseman.
I'll add it to my. You know what? I'll add it to my list
I probably
right
will.
now.
I need a new show. To watch, so I'll probably watch it. I was thinking about either rewatching Breaking Bad or just something else, or Better Call Saul, because I've never seen Better Call Saul.
I've seen the first 3 seasons. It's really entertaining and genuinely like Bob Odenkirk is amazing. Like I can't say that enough. He is amazing.
I want to wait for it all to come out, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
It's never gonna end, dude. I feel like
it's one of those shows that's gonna go on forever.
It's gonna catch up to Breaking Bad's like actual thing, right? Which is like what, 2006 or 2007, right?
Well, no, they changed it. They changed it for the movie. So they just.
What's the year now?
Huh? No, they did.
What's the?
Whenever the movie came out, so like 2018 or 2019.
Isn't that just 5 years after the first? Or after the season ended?
I think you're overthinking.
No, I'm saying like, no, the beginning of the show takes place in 2008. It probably ends in like 2013.
No, it doesn't. No, the entire show only takes place over 2 years, because in the first episode Walt turned 50, and in the last episode he turned 52.
Oh.
But then they retroactively went back in the final season, or in the movie, and changed the years.
Did Vince Gilligan like make the movie El Camino? I never.
Yeah, he did.
The movie was actually good.
It's good. It surprisingly is good for a movie that came out years after the show was finished.
New scenes of Bryan Cranston?
Yes.
Or is it just old scenes?
There are new scenes with him. It is not just old scenes, and they're few. There's not a ton, so I'm not going to get your hopes up. But the few that are in is still like interesting. It's like a side section. Like it's literally you can tell where it was as part of the main story.
Yeah.
Like it's interesting because it's like just a scene we didn't get to see because it was just like a cut between this event and then a few hours later or something. You know what I mean?
Oh, is it like a deleted scene or like a cut scene?
No, it's not a deleted scene or cut scene.
No,
like
they
re-recorded it. Yeah, he's there. He's new. You can tell he looks slightly different because they've aged. But yeah,
naturally.
Man, I remember Breaking Bad mania, like when the show first came out, because I was watching it when that happened. Crazy, like, everybody was talking about.
Honestly, it. I don't. I mean, because I didn't watch it when it was crazy.
Yeah,
we were in like 5th grade when it ended, or 6th grade when it ended.
I remember seeing on the news the ending, or like seeing that it had ended on the news, not the end, not the actual ending.
Oh, dude, it was crazy. It was literally like everybody was like, "Whoa, like this show is phenomenal. It's crazy." My brother was more of a Mad Men dude. Like, he didn't really watch Breaking Bad until I started watching it with him. What the interesting thing about Mad Men was, like, my brother, like, but, like, so when he was watching it, I remember once he, like, visited from town, right? It was, like, spring break or something. Mad Men was, like, starting up again. He was like, oh, yeah, like, this week's episode is playing in the theater. Or, like, I'm going to go to, like, or something.
Really?
Does that dox us? I don't know about that. Does it?
I can cut it out.
In a lot of places, right?
Yeah, we'll cut it out. Whatever.
It's not important. Anyway, it's like some indie movie theater or some, not even indie movie. Just he's like, yeah, I'm gonna go there. They're gonna have this week's.
It's an art, in quotes, theater because they still play Avengers.
I'm gonna watch this week's episode. Yeah, I'm gonna go watch this week's episode of Mad Men. I'm like, oh my god, it's in a theater, like the 40-minute episode. 45-minute episode.
That's super interesting.
Like, yeah, they do that every week. Like, that's like the first time I ever heard about that. I know they do it now for Game of Thrones and stuff, at least pre-COVID, and stuff like that. I don't know what they do now. What would you even do that for now? There's so many great shows, but like there's not like one that's like the best of the best. You know what I mean? Like
there's been a lull, right? Because there's been a year since, like.
No, but even then, like before that, so like once Game of Thrones ended, what is that show?
The Mandalorian, maybe? I don't know.
Maybe
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian,
would rent out
maybe.
theaters.
Yeah. I see what Naimur's saying though, that we don't have something that has like the dramatic tension and the extremely deep characters of Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Because like I remember specifically, Mad Men was just like big deal. Like everybody was watching Mad Men all the time.
All the time.
Even John Mulaney did like a bit about it on Weekend Update when he was still at SNL. Or no, not when he was still at SNL. When he started becoming a stand-up, he went to SNL because he used to be a writer there, and he was on Weekend Update, and he was just joking about Mad Men during that season.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, and it's just like, it won. You know what's crazy about Mad Men? It won, I think, 4 straight Emmys for Best TV Show. Actually, no, 5 straight Emmys in a row, like seasons.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy.
That is ridiculous.
John Hamm did not win. He was nominated every year Mad Men was on for Best Leading Actor. Lost every time except the final season.
Who did he lose?
He was nominated 8 times.
Who did he lose to?
8 total times. Huh?
Who did he lose to?
Well, 4 of them was technically Bryan Cranston, right? Because Breaking Bad was on during the same time. So 4 of them were.
Dude, that's such unfortunate timing. He just lost because there was a slightly better show, and they're both like these highbrow shows like that are so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, and then do you remember Homeland, that TV show?
Yeah.
Homeland Security.
The first 2 seasons, like people loved them so much. Like people loved Homeland. Damian Lewis, he's like the redhead dude. He won it. I think once or twice. He might have won it twice. Don't know who else won it. I don't remember. I can look it up right now. But yeah, that's crazy because like honestly, he should have won it every year. Like I generally don't understand how
I like John Hamm a lot. I mean,
yeah,
it's crazy
actor.
though. Like when I look at Don Draper,
though,
I don't see him.
Really,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
I see Don Draper, right? Because it's like a period piece. And then when I see John Hamm in regular movies and stuff like that, like yeah, that's John Hamm. But like when I see him in this TV as show, Don Draper,
just, wow, yeah,
it's like it's so the character, right? It's the same thing with like so the actor who plays Howard Stark in the MCU, he's in it too. He's like he's like another pivotal character, like they just play their characters so well. It's like so believable and stuff like that. And another thing is it holds no nostalgia for the past. Like you might think like, oh, it's so cool they're wearing these suits and stuff like that. But then it shows you racism, right? Yeah, or some like one of the characters you love is just makes a really racist remark, or it's just like does this thing. Like in an episode, like in one of the episodes in like season 3, they do there's like a depiction of blackface, right, from one of the like likable characters. And then you're like, oh yeah, like this is the time. I completely forgot, right?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like I cannot recommend this.
I think that's super.
You guys need to start watching.
I think that's a super interesting take because a lot of people, like you can even see this in WandaVision, are glamorizing the eras from like the 30s to the like even to the 90s, right? They're like glamorizing, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like I think
no. In WandaVision, I don't think that's a very accurate criticism because it was meant to be her ideal sitcom world.
Sure,
from those time periods.
But as an audience, you're also just supposed to have some level of nostalgia for like old-timey stuff, right? If we take a step back, like yes, in the story itself, Luke, I 100% agree. The intention is not to make you feel nostalgia or glamorize it, but if just as an audience viewing experience, it's like it's entertaining partly because we have nostalgia for that. But I think it's super interesting, like you were saying, Naimur, to switch that around.
So he was nominated 8 times, only won once. He lost 4 of them to Bryan Cranston, 1 of them to Damian Lewis from Homeland, Jeff Daniels from Newsroom, and what do you call it? Kyle Chandler from Friday Night Lights.
Okay. I haven't seen any of those. That's
I heard
not
Friday
true.
Night Lights is like
Bad, right? But
when I was in my film class last semester, my teacher at the end of the semester, he was like, dude, like Friday Night Lights is like actually like a really good show. Like it's a great depiction of high school football in Texas. I'm like, oh, really? And he's like, yeah, it's like an amazing like depiction of Texas football.
And then you as a football player, did you watch it?
I have not seen it yet.
Oh, okay.
People say it's like really good.
I thought you were gonna. It sounded like you were building up to saying, and then I watched it. Wasn't all that good. Like I thought that's what you were gonna say.
No, I'm sure it's good. I have never seen it, but I heard it's genuinely really good because I thought it was like the drama, like ABC Family type drama,
right.
Gilmore Girls-esque type thing where it's just like whatever.
Like what Riverdale has become, where it's just a bunch of characters thrown together in as many interactions as possible.
Yeah. Rami Malek won once for Mr. Robot.
That's on my list. That is on my list. All 4.
I need to finish
5 seasons of that, whatever it is.
4 seasons.
Man,
I finished season 2. I'm like a quarter. I was a quarter into season 3 when I left it like 2 years ago. I don't know when to start.
I'm just going to tell you this, Naimur.
Or just
never spoil that show for me, because if you do, it's unlikely I'll watch it.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you should definitely continue watching it.
No, for sure.
There are some twists and turns. There's so many twists in that show. It's like, what? Makes no sense. But again, dude, honestly, screw Mr. Robot for now.
I know what you said. I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
Can I change the subject slightly?
Watch 2 episodes a week instead of your movie. It's just as good. I'm telling you right now.
Or we can do it on top of.
Yes.
On top of that, whatever. Yeah. So yeah. During your little cuddle sessions, you got Mad Men on the TV, and then you just watch it together.
So I'm telling you,
we can get to. You guys will love it so much.
We can get to the big conversation in a second. I'm trying to move on, Naimur, because I get it, and I think the audience also gets it.
Yes, we definitely get it.
I'm telling you though, I will not be your friend anymore.
Naimur, the more you try to convince me, I'm at a point where you can't convince me more. Like, like there's nothing you can do.
No, but I'm saying this because I recommend a lot of shows to y'all.
I know.
Malcolm in the Middle or whatever.
No, I know. I get it.
This show is a must-watch for you too. Specifically,
Naimur, you don't understand how serious it is that I added it to my list.
Naimur, the more you say it,
I can't tell if he's doing it as a bit right now. I can't.
Daniel, for reference, how many shows have you actually watched on your list that are on your list?
One.
Well, they're only on his list because he hasn't watched them.
Yeah, so if Mad Men's at the top, at the absolute bottom, he's not gonna watch it.
It's not
how I know.
This is not in order. I don't watch this in order. You want to see? This is my TV. This is my movies list. See how I don't watch them in order? There's a bunch of gaps here, and then there's this section here, and then there's that. Yeah.
Speaking of which, it'd be a cool cool app to like reward the idea of watching stuff. So like I thought about this.
There's a scratch poster. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
The top 100 IMDb
I guess that's a physical
movies?
reward.
Yeah, I know.
would love like a gamer score-esque type thing where it's like, you get an achievement, but it depends, right? So it's like, let's say you have that pesky movie in your watch later, right? And it's been like years, and you finally watch it. You get like a gamer score for just doing it, right? And stuff like that'd be such a great.
And then
aspect.
maybe
like
after you finish the movie, you can also check out like 3 like, you can look at like the content behind it. Well, no, I'm just talking about like you could look at like, did you know this about the movie? You know what I mean? Like once you finish
what different achievements would there be for watching a movie?
No, just like
can't get all the collectibles.
Or no, I'm not saying maybe achievements, but let's say like a completionist type thing, right? So it's like
I know what you mean.
Oh, watch all of The Office, including the episode The Farm. Right? It's like, let's say you just ignore that all the time. Or it's like, it's like rewatch this show for the 5th time, whatever. Do this thing.
Right.
Or just like
it's like a challenge. Like they can give you like annual or monthly challenges.
It's just like, or it's just an idea because there's something so gratifying about just cross a movie off a list that I've been meaning to watch. Forever,
honestly, though, that's why I have. That's partially why I have this list, because it's so much more satisfying to be like, I have all these movies I want to watch, and then when I finally the list is starting to get checked off. Like you see, there are these sections that are getting checked off, and I'm feeling satisfied because I get to watch all these.
To me,
great
that
movies
kind of feels overwhelming, though. I need that sweet spot. You know what I mean?
Oh no, for sure.
It's not feeling like that.
But I don't want to watch them all right now. So that's where my sweet spot is. It's like I don't need to watch all of those right now. I just go down the list and find which ones I do want to watch right now. Can I talk about something? Because I was gonna move to it, but then you kept sidetracking and talking about Mad Men.
Yes.
Last thing.
This will be very short.
I keep repeating watch Mad Men because I know you two, and I know you won't.
Naimur, the more you say it, the more annoyed I will get, and the less likely I will be to watch it.
Sure.
I'm praying at this point. I'm praying that this becomes a bit. Just in the future,
it's half a bit.
Dude, he's gonna text us tomorrow. Watch Mad Men.
No, I'm not gonna be that
every day.
I know,
he's gonna break into our houses.
But I generally want to talk about it, dude.
He's gonna break into our houses, hold our eyes open while he.
I generally want to talk about it with somebody.
No, I know.
Who cares.
I'm down to watch.
Especially the ending. The ending is so. It's not ambiguous. I think it's like a fine line of ambiguous. It's ambiguous to the point where it leaves up to interpretation, but the interpretation in of itself can be reached with a consensus, right? I don't know how to explain it without actually saying what the ending
you don't
is,
need to say more.
But just the idea of it. Right?
Sopranos did something like that.
It's not like I
haven't watched it, but I heard the ending of it is kind of like open-ended, but in a way where it's like you understand that there's not like infinite possible options. It's like there's a general idea of like, well, I mean, either this happened or this happened, and you're satisfied knowing that it was one of those options.
Fun
or that
fact.
It's like, yeah.
Fun fact. Matthew Weiner, I think is his name. He wrote on The Sopranos, and he's the creator of Mad Men.
I also feel like I should watch Sopranos at some point, but that's later on. I haven't even added it to my list. I want to watch
Sopranos too.
So.
Sopranos, The Wire, and probably Better Call Saul.
So
those 3 shows.
What I was trying to get to, and I just wanted to talk about this very briefly,
was Mad Men, and I'm bringing it back up. No, kidding.
I watched the Lego Batman movie. I wanted to do it. I've always wanted to do it, and I don't know why.
Dude, I saw that years ago.
You've actually
That's
seen
so
it?
Funny.
I figured
I
figured no one had actually seen it.
I have not
seen it.
It's genuinely
like 2 years ago.
It's genuinely like a really adorable, like cute, like fun, entertaining movie.
Probably the best depiction of Batman since The Dark Knight.
Wait, I mean, you might actually be right though. Like low key, like also it has Will Arnett, which is like amazing. Like I love him. He plays Batman.
And Michael Cera as Robin. It's so funny. I just love Michael.
It is Michael Cera. That's awesome, dude. I didn't know that. Go ahead, Luke.
About Will Arnett, I'm pissed he didn't win an Emmy for BoJack Horseman. I'm very mad.
Do they have voice acting?
I'm very mad.
I'm actually more mad that he didn't win an Emmy for his Reese's commercials. Because those...
Dude, I can't unsee it. Every time I watch the Reese's commercials, I'm either hearing BoJack Horseman or I'm hearing Job from Arrested Development. Like those are the only things I can hear. Yeah. I just want to say if anybody's looking for a fun, entertaining, peaceful movie that you don't have to like think about, you just want to watch something entertaining. Lego Batman.
Lego movie. Just the first Lego movie.
I think the first movie is genuinely interesting. I don't know that I would ever go back and watch it.
I never watched the second one.
I never watched the second one either. I liked Will Ferrell.
Ferrell?
Yeah, why did I say Ferrell? I can't speak. I'm not even going to try. I'm too tired at this point.
It felt so weird because in middle school, it felt like word of mouth. Like everybody was talking about it. Like, oh, the Lego movie was amazing. You have to go watch it. Go watch it, right? And then we all watched it, but it only made like $500 million in the box office,
really,
which is a lot. But you would think. I don't know. I guess maybe people just weren't that inclined.
Again, I think it's an entertaining movie, but again, it's a kids movie, and
hey, now think of it
like
this,
Neighbor. To audience.
Think about it like this, Neighbor. Most
adults. What the heck?
Most people in the United States will never earn that much money in their life. So
I guess that's true.
That's a lot of money.
Except me, maybe one day.
Probably
that's
not.
Why I'm gonna
and that's why today's sponsor is
Yeah, it was a solid little movie. Those Lego movies are pretty good. But,
surprisingly good. I would think they would be like cheesy and cringy, but the acting and the writing is genuinely fantastic.
Yeah, the reason why I'm thinking about Lego movie that same year or the year like that school year, I watched Gravity in theaters, 3D. Oh my god, what an
3D.
Experience.
Maybe I need to do that.
Amazing. One of the few movies that actually utilize 3D to probably its full potential.
I think Doctor Strange did that well too.
I didn't see Doctor Strange in that. I remember I watched Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 in 3D.
Yeah.
3D. Only 2 moments I remember because it was 3D. One was when spoilers for Harry Potter Deathly Hallows Part 2 if you haven't seen the movie. It's 8 years old, 9 years old at this point.
Don't spoil it. I haven't seen it yet.
So like when Harry basically kind of dies, so he goes to like heaven, quote unquote, where it's all white, right? So when it's white in the movie theater and it's dark, everything lights up, right? Because it's like white, the bright screen. You know, I look at my dad next to me, I hear snoring, and I can't tell that he's like asleep because he has the 3D glasses on, but I know he's asleep.
I love that.
And then the second time in the movie was when like at the end when Voldemort like basically like dies in ashes, right? Like you get disintegrates in ashes. Or when the ashes like basically start flying
towards the screen.
It looks pretty cool in theory because it felt like the ashes were like
actually there
around you.
Yeah,
that was the only time. It was like $10 extra per person just to watch it in 3D.
I want to say the best movie I ever watched in 3D, well, technically 4D, Spy Kids.
Oh my god.
4. What is it? Spy Kids 4. Not the Race Against Time. Armageddon.
I
Spy Kids 4 Armageddon. Armageddon.
At least the first three.
Oh yeah, not don't watch the fourth one.
I definitely watch the first three again because I know they like hold up a lot for like.
Oh, it's Spy Kids 4. Just Spy Kids all the time in the world, but it is the fourth one.
I do want to watch the first three because I know they hold up well for adults as well as Adventures
hold
of
up
Sharkboy and
well,
Lavagirl.
But they're also
for adults. Like they're funny for adults.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're just funny for our generation because it's literally just crap humor.
Yeah, it really is.
It's just humor.
Dude, I forgot how much of it is just like so stupid and ridiculous. Like the amount of stuff that happens that you're just like, what is going on? Like there's that scene in the first one where the guy gets stuck in his own jail, but it's just like this cloud room that's like you can't see anything. It reminds me, you know what we need to watch? We need to watch Sharkboy and Lavagirl because it's that like ridiculousness of like what is going on?
Yeah. Or one of the scenes in Sharkboy in Spy Kids where it's like Steve Buscemi says, "Do you think God has put us on Earth because he's afraid of his own creation?"
Yeah.
It's like this movie's trying to be deep, and then it's like, and then it cuts to like walking thumbs. The next, you know what I mean?
Dude,
it's just.
I remember me and my roommate. There was this one video on Instagram. It was like the dude. He was. It's like the kid. And he's like, "You stole my dream journal," to like the bully.
Right.
And the bully's like, "I did not, Mr. E. Have this man
expelled immediately." This is from Sharkboy and Lavagirl for people who don't know.
Yeah, it's like a kid saying this, like, "Mr. E. Have this boy expelled." And then, but like the way it does it does like the I'll call it degradation humor because it feels like your intelligence has to degrade in order for you to find it funny. But it's like
it's like, deep fry?
"Have this boy expat." Where they just like literally just stop it.
Yeah.
Like they like make the high pitched
noise.
It's like expat.
They distort it a ton.
So
yeah.
stupid.
That's yeah.
Oh my god, it was so funny though. It made me laugh for a solid like hour. Oh man,
dude, I really do want to watch that movie because it's so ridiculous. All of those movies, it's just, and it's also like part of our childhood, so maybe that's why we find it funny. Because looking back, you're like, I don't remember this movie being so absurdly ridiculous. How did I absorb this content without turning my brain to mush?
Yeah,
you remember what?
I was really mad because when I went to McDonald's, they had the Sharkboy and Lavagirl Happy Meals, and they gave me Lavagirl, and I didn't want it. I wanted Sharkboy.
Fit and you smashed the toy.
No, I just kept it in the toy drawer and never touched it again.
Nice.
Although, let's be honest,
like, why would I want
Lavagirl's powers are cooler than Sharkboy's.
Debatable, man.
Yeah,
wouldn't you want to eat really fast? That's about the extent of his powers.
That's the superpowers. Eat really fast. Shoot lava. Wait, she can also convert herself into lava and then.
But she can't walk on ice.
Unless she's sleeping.
Yeah, she can.
Unless she's sleeping.
Unless she's sleeping. And she better not sneeze. Nobody's going to know what we're talking about if you've never seen this movie. This is the most absurd,
it's not a great movie.
If they haven't seen the movie, they need to culture themselves.
If you haven't seen the movie before, don't go watch it. You're not going to enjoy it.
So we digressed by transitioning to 3D. Or I talked about Gravity. I was talking about how great it was in 3D. And then Danny was talking about another great movie in 3D was Spy Kids 4D. And now we're here.
By the way, so it's 4D because it also had the scent smell thing, right?
Congratulations to you for figuring how conversations work.
No.
Really good job there, son.
I'm trying to about to transition, Luke, but I love the way that you're just detracting.
I'm trying to detract a little because I'm talking about how great Gravity was. It was made by Alfonso Cuarón, who actually did Harry Potter as well.
I didn't like Gravity the first time I watched it.
See, the thing about people is like, I watched Gravity, didn't really like it. It's like, where'd you watch it? Oh, I watched it in my monitor in my room.
Yeah. You kind of need the theater.
Obviously, like you have to watch it in either like a big, like on a big TV.
No, you're probably right.
Surround sound, or just don't like Like,
did I ever tell you? I think I've told you this before.
I watched it on my iPhone screen while I was like.
No. I didn't watch it on my iPhone screen. I'm pretty sure we watched it on like a big television screen at the very least. But anyways. I find this so funny. The when I actually watched it again, it was like so many years later. It was on a bus coming back from or going to, I don't remember, coming back from a long hiking trip, and the bus was so shaky. Like, it literally wouldn't stop shaking the whole way, right? And they were playing Gravity, and I was like, you know, this movie... And it was, like, on this really tiny screen. But I think the shaking did it for me. I was like, now I feel immersed into this movie. Like, I don't know what it was, but it was like... That's when I realized the movie might be good. Like, I should go watch it again in, like, IMAX. Like, that's what I want to do now.
Yeah, I want to watch it in, like, a Kanye West setup. Remember that?
Yeah, he just has a giant...
Like,
he just has a giant...
Yeah, it's literally a warehouse. Imagine a Costco with nothing in it, and on one of the walls, it's just a projection. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how big his setup is. And there's, like, a couch in the middle.
Yeah.
What? It's just, it seems so crazy.
Just
honestly,
saying.
I don't want to watch movies like that. I'm gonna be honest. I don't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, just saying.
I'd love to watch a football game like that. That'd be pretty dope. Could you imagine having a party like that with like a football game just on this like ginormous?
I mean, that would be on.
Can't say I.
That'd be pretty cool.
Can't say
well,
I would.
That'd be pretty
but Luke doesn't like parties, unless he's going there to super spread.
I also, yeah.
Exactly. Okay,
if I'm not going
we're detracting from Gravity. Naimur wants to talk about Gravity.
Alfonso Cuarón.
Naimur doesn't like how conversations flow naturally. Anyway.
I'm not talking about Gravity. I'm talking about something that happened to me this week.
Oh.
So, Alfonso Cuarón
came to your house.
No, he did not.
Oh.
I wish he did. He's a great director.
What else has he made?
But
no, I'm just kidding.
He's made Children of Men. Great movie as well.
Haven't seen it, but I need to see it. Yeah, that's on the list.
Also known for like one of its most iconic one takes ever. It's like I don't know. It's like a 2-3 minute one take.
Is that? That's at the beginning, right?
It's near the beginning. It's like first third, probably.
He also made.
Oh, I'm thinking of the other scene at the beginning. Sorry.
He also made The Bye Bye Man, which is also known for its very iconic opening one take.
No, he didn't. Stop it.
I'm just kidding.
Don't. What do you call it? Slander his name like that. Okay, and then he also made Roma, which I watched this last weekend.
Oh, yeah, you said that.
Did you like it?
You watched that after we watched Riverdale.
Yeah, it was a.
He said he was gonna
movie.
watch it. Or yeah.
I was gonna watch it. I hadn't watched it then yet. It's very long, like in terms of like just like all the stuff. But it's like I don't know. I probably need to watch a dissection about it. But just thinking about it as just watching it's a very beautiful. Very sad.
I feel so horrible because I didn't make it through the movie.
I never.
Yeah, you've missed it at like I don't know. I think you need to watch it with somebody.
I also think maybe I just don't need to watch it late at night. Like maybe I watch it mid-afternoon or early in the day.
Oh, dude, yeah, you're gonna fall asleep.
If you're not like, this movie is slow in a good way because it's realistic, like to life. Like it just feels like you're in the world. Yeah. But if you're not like, if you're like even slightly exhausted, you might just pass out watching the movie. Yeah. Like that's my issue. I think I was starting to fall asleep, and then I was like, oh no, this is not good. If a movie makes me want to fall asleep, then I know if I fall asleep, I'm never going to want to watch it again because I fell asleep the first time watching it, and then it's just this perpetual thing of like
taste aversion.
Yeah. So I think I just need to watch it when I'm awake.
It's a sad movie, but like it's a beautiful movie. I think beautiful in its best words. Where it's not necessarily like when you think beautiful, it's not like oh my God, you see a supermodel here, like she's beautiful. I think it's more so like you accept something for its flaws and its like imperfections and something. Yeah,
yes.
I don't know.
I think it's also a culturally important movie, right? Just because of the diversity it brings to like movies in general.
Diversity, yeah, I think so. Because I don't usually watch foreign language films like at all. I've only seen like Parasite and like that, and aside from some Bollywood films, but like. This movie is like it's a genuinely like just beautiful movie. I think it's an experience more so than it is a movie, right? Like you just see this person's life and just see what they're going through.
An experience. It's just like Gravity. I'm sorry.
There's some cool shots too, though. Cool cinematography. I'm excited for whatever he makes next. Like I'm genuinely him, Alejandro Inarritu. I think that's his name. He made Birdman and The Revenant. Haven't seen Revenant yet. I have it on Blu-ray.
Either.
I'm gonna watch it eventually.
I haven't seen Birdman, honestly.
I want to watch Birdman, not on any streaming service. I don't know why. I guess he just doesn't like streaming service or something. Always looked for it, couldn't find it on a streaming service. I want to watch that movie so badly because I heard it's so good. So, and Revenant as well because of like Leo or whatever. But
we have 10 minutes left.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about
what else is there to talk about?
What did we watch with Leonardo DiCaprio in it recently?
Us?
Departed.
Oh, The Departed. Yeah,
that's good, dude.
Yeah.
We watch so many good movies, dude. Like we're like so spoiled with the movies that we watch.
We're just artists.
We're just cinephiles. We just
I told you all about that.
We just like good movies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird. It's like if I ever look at a movie tomato meter and it's like below 80%, I'm like,
Yeah, if it's below 95%, I'm not gonna watch it.
I'm just below 80%. I'm like, don't really want to watch it.
It just sucks though, because the scores are so inflated for like Disney movies and like Pixar movies.
And you know what the
and
weird
then
thing
they're
is?
so deflated for movies that are like, that are groundbreaking in any way. It's like, well, we're just gonna ignore it because it has.
I realized this, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the tomato meter does not mean like, critics think like 97%. It's amazing, right? Like the rating.
It's the amount of people that voted good versus bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Which I'm like, that completely changes everything. Not really though. If it's still,
it's still. I don't know that it would change my mind on the movie. Like,
it's like Asian
people rating it an
80%
versus 80% of people are rating it better than not bad, like better than it is worse.
Yeah. It's like semi-laxed Asian immigrant parent viewpoint for me, where it's like, okay, so we're, my parents and most other Asian immigrant parents would be like, a 95. What are the other 5 points? I mean, that's okay, but like, I'm like, a 90. I mean, that's great. Yeah, well, that's fine. And then
it's just,
but
like
97,
but you're
like,
silently judging it, right? You're silently judging, like.
No, I don't even judge it. If it's effectively above a 90, I'm like, okay, I'll watch this. Like, this is really good, probably. And then if it's above an 80, I'll feel good about watching it because I usually look at it after the fact, the tomato meter. But I usually do this when my brother or like whoever's like, oh, can we watch a movie or let's watch this movie? I was like, oh, it's got like a 58% on Rotten Tomatoes. He's like, oh, let's not then, because like he cares about it more than I do. So
really?
Yeah, don't want to watch that movie. I kind of like coerce my way into getting a different movie. So it's
that's
like,
so funny.
We can watch another thing. Ooh, movie you should add to the list: Prisoners. It's made by the dude who did Arrival.
I think I have it.
Is it on there?
Didn't Luke talk about that?
Great movie.
It's literally on my list. It's that gap right there.
It's like 7, except not as gruesome, I would say.
Well, you would know. You haven't seen 7.
That's so funny. I already have it on my list. You mentioned another
Not gruesome
one.
at all.
Birdman.
I love that movie so much.
You guys ever heard of the
movie.
Florida Project?
Yeah. The one
Never
filmed on an
seen
iPhone.
That dude's a genius. No, that's not the one. That's Tangerine. It's made by the same
That's
dude.
That's Tangerine. I don't. Are you talking about the book? Did they make that into a movie?
Oh my God. No, it's a very different movie from the book.
Okay, just making
very
sure.
Different.
Just making sure, because that book I honestly, personally think was god awful. But maybe it's just because I hated reading.
It was an interesting book. The plot was pretty interesting. Okay, well, we gotta talk about Tangerine. We gotta talk about not the movie.
Oh God.
The book.
But the book.
So from my memory, it's of this.
The
kid.
plot is
It's from the
interesting.
point of view
I
of this
just think
kid.
the characters are bland and uninteresting. They're just
the build-up, bro, is just like
people.
The build-up is just so like what? It's like there's nothing leading up to it. It's effectively like this kid. He semi-blind, so he has like these really thick glasses, like really thick. And so, like, he gets made fun of. His brother, who's like in high school, like makes fun of him. Bullies him all the time. And so he likes playing soccer though. He like really likes playing soccer, but his team like sucks. Right?
And it's not like he can do much
like
better
that,
because he's like, is he the
Because he
goalie
can't
or
see.
something? But he can't see.
Yeah, he's like the goalie and he can't see, and he's wearing goggles for glasses. And so, effective.
By the way, spoilers for a book for 5th graders.
Honestly,
or 6th graders.
It's like 7th graders.
7th graders.
Seventh graders. Well, honestly, it might be good for you though if you're in 7th grade because guess what? Then you don't need to read the book. You can just listen to our point of view of what we remember happening. 5 years
Exactly,
ago.
and you can just use that to write all of your papers and anything you have to write. As if you have to write a paper in 7th grade.
What else happened? So, like, what was the external conflict? He was, like, trying to play his old school. Or, like, he transfers, right? Doesn't he transfer? And then...
There's a mystery that he has to solve, but I forget how it plays out. I don't forget how it plays out.
It's like the
forget.
sinkholes, right?
Oh,
there's, like, sinkholes that are happening. Dude, there was so much stuff happening.
So much stuff happens,
none of it makes
and
sense.
I don't understand how it all connects. But maybe I'm just stupid. I just know Can I spoil it? Spoiler warning for the book. At the end, it turns out his brother was the reason he was blind because his brother had sprayed spray paint into his eyes and forced him to look at the sun or some stupid. Like, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was something like his brother was
spray
behind
painted
it.
something into his eyes, or he threw like something.
And somebody
rocks
used
in his eye.
used a bat to like hit somebody and give them an aneurysm. That happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't give them an aneurysm. It burst the aneurysm.
Yes. It burst the aneurysm, killing them.
Yeah.
So the person died from the aneurysm bursting, but it turned out the reason it had burst was because somebody hit them with a...
Dude, I don't even remember what the external conflict was in this movie.
No, I couldn't tell you.
I honestly would not know either.
And if I can't remember it, I'm gonna be honest. Can't have been that good. Can't have been good.
No, it probably was not very good. The only thing that I learned from that book was that if it's gonna freeze, you should spray water on your plants because then they won't freeze. Like the water will freeze, but that means it won't go below freezing.
Because it'll freeze on the outside and then keep it insulated? Is that what the...
Yeah. Yeah.
Most people just wrap them in blankets, Luke. In tarps.
Oh, did you know that, Luke? Did you do that when the superstorm hit?
My mom did. She brought a bunch of plants inside and then covered the rest up with blankets.
I don't know if I did. I don't know if my parents did. But, yeah, it's like...
We also covered our outside drains and stuff like that.
There's so many weird books, but there's so many good books, too. Like, I think Things Fall Apart is a great book.
I think Things Fall Apart... I genuinely agree. I think, like, despite, like, not wanting to be in English class in high school, like... I think it's important to read books like that. I think I genuinely enjoyed reading Count of Monte Cristo. Like, I genuinely... That is...
Never read it. I was so confused, dude. I don't know how I passed the test. I didn't read a single chapter.
That movie was actually...
I didn't even read the Spark Notes.
But that book is so freaking amazing. Like, it's just so well crafted. Yeah. It's so interesting to follow.
There was a book... I was in Gifted and Talented when I was in 8th grade because I'm better than Luke and Daniel. No, I'm kidding. But I was in Gifted and Talented, so we read this book called Peace Like a River. Oh my god, that was a pretty good book. It was a pretty interesting book actually. Mm-hmm. It was just like, there was a lot of I think biblical, allusions and stuff like that. But it was just like effectively like this kid, like and his like family is like kind of on the run because like the older brother is accused of like, assaulting a woman. Even though it was somebody else. Mm-hmm. And, like, he sees his dad do these supernatural acts, like, literally, like, walk on water, like, make things, like, levitate and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's, like, told in this point of view that's, like, really surreal. I don't know. It was a really interesting book. I should probably, like, look at the summary again. But I don't know how many books I truly read in school, though. Like, truly read.
What's your guys' favorite book? Doesn't have to be from high school reading. I'm just curious. Favorite book?
I don't actually really know.
I have.
Probably Shoe Dog. Probably Shoe Dog by Phil Knight.
My favorite biography. My favorite book series right now is definitely The Expanse. But I can't name a favorite book right
God.
now.
What a nerd. Shut up.
Oh my god.
I ask Luke the question and then he answers honestly and then I just beat up his answer.
No, I think
I have to say
mine's Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Dog Days,
Cabin Fever, Diary of the Wimpy Kid, Cabin Fever, the one that came out like I don't know, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, 8 years ago.
No, not 4, dude. It's been like 11.
Time doesn't pass for me, okay? 9. I don't process time passing. You know that. My favorite book, genuinely, forgetting the name, East of Eden. Genuinely such an amazing book because the characters feel so real. The conflicts are much more interesting than just, I don't like that guy over there. Or, somebody kills someone. It's like the conflicts come from these characters being complex and therefore like it's almost like curiosity is what just drives the conflict. Like people are just curious and people lie to protect people and so it's like it's just a fantastic book. I love everything about it from the world building to the conflict to the end. It's just fantastic.
So I was looking at my bookshelf. I kind of hit my mic looking at it. I don't read a lot, but when I do, it depends. Like I like Ready Player One a lot. Like I think the book's pretty good. If you guys ever want to borrow it, go ahead. I enjoyed it a lot. It was a good book. The Road, solid, I guess. I don't know. Part of it's just like
which one? Who wrote The Road?
Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah. Okay. I've been meaning to watch The Road.
I haven't seen the movie. I haven't.
Yeah.
I know
the movie. The movie was really good, but
what's the one that Stephen King wrote that's of a similar title but is just about people running?
The Run?
Maybe.
Is it The Run? There's no way it's The...
No, it's not The Run.
Yeah, I don't know. The books I actually enjoy most probably are like the biographies. Like I like Steve Jobs' biography a lot. It's really long, so I've never had the chance to.
Oh, the Bible.
Shut up. No, like
Jesus' autobiography.
Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson is a great book. It's actually what's the basis for Aaron Sorkin's movie. And Shoe Dog is I actually finished. It's only like 270 pages. It's a great book.
Oh, it's just called The Running Man, by the way. I looked it up.
Oh my god, like that challenge we did in middle school, the Running Man challenge. Anyway, look it up, kids. If you're so young, you don't remember. But
why do we pretend like we're marketing this podcast to kids when we're not? Look it up, all of those 8-year-olds out there that are listening to this podcast.
If you're a 2-year-old, we're gonna go over
our entire age range. By the way, Naimur, is the 18 to 36 range. 18 to 24, 24 to 36.
Thank God. Screw them kids. No one likes kids.
Not that we're actually getting any views. It's the people who click on our episodes by accident, listen to a few seconds, and then realize it's the wrong video.
Yeah. Oh, I meant to watch the Joe Rogan podcast, but I'm dyslexic.
Aha.
No joke. Okay, fine.
Aha.
Anyway.
Well, the joke wasn't funny because you can't misspell Joe Rogan in a way that would get you to our podcast.
Little did you know, I'm Percy Jackson, so I can do whatever I want.
What?
He's okay. The connection was slim because Percy Jackson is dyslexic, Luke, and then he was
dyslexic. No, I got the joke. It just wasn't funny. It just wasn't funny.
Bro, remember when he used the back of an iPod Touch because it was reflective like a mirror to see Medusa? That wouldn't work today.
No, it wouldn't.
There's no iPod Touch. Two,
use the black screen.
The back is no longer
just
metal.
Use the black screen of your phone now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's too dark. Also,
how is it?
Or
it was the middle of the day.
I guess
it was the middle of the day.
Yeah, I guess the iPod Touch doesn't have any.
Wait, hold on.
Didn't have a camera back then, so it does now. So I guess you could have just done that.
Just use the little Apple symbol. The little Apple symbol is reflective.
How is that gonna help?
Can you just take a video? Can you just take a video?
Yeah, but he didn't.
Yeah, but there was no camera
back
then on the iPhone Touch.
Oh, so nowadays you can just take a video. One. We're talking about the Percy Jackson movie for anyone that's confused. He fights Medusa.
It was just a weird scene.
And it
felt like the weirdest product.
That was so. I don't know. That was so.
Yeah, let's not talk about that movie. Let's just not.
Okay, I just want to talk about Shoe Dog real quick. Just as his favorite book.
Okay.
I know, Luke. I get on a tangent.
But when I talk about my favorite book, you cut me off. Okay. Continue.
I'm sorry. The Expanse. In stores now.
And on TV now.
And on TV. You could read it on TV.
Huh?
They're actually scrolling the book text under the TV show. So you just have to read fast.
That much.
Are you, Naimur, are you trying to imply that I'm a murderer?
No.
Okay. Luke sticks his neck out. I love every time Luke sticks his neck out as if he's like, right? Huh? And then he sticks his neck forward as if he's like proving a point.
Yeah. Okay. Well, just Shoe Dog. Keep it quick.
Yep.
It's just Phil Knight, founder of Nike's biography. He writes it. Such an interesting book from the point of view of like how everything got started and how everything got to where it was. Because it felt like it's just like there's one like how the book works is there's a big conflict, right? And it's like, oh, this could be like make or break for the company. Solves it. Then immediately another conflict, right? Mm-hmm. Just as big, if not worse, right? Even more so and more so. It like escalates. I'm like, oh my God. Like, how is he doing this? And how does if any of these went wrong, Nike would just be kaput. Like it would be gone, right?
Can I ask a question?
And it didn't. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. Yeah, what's up?
Does the book address the use of child slaves in Asia?
At the end, in his like memoir section of it. Okay. Mm-hmm. It's not child slaves. It's more so the sweatshop thing.
I know. I was exaggerating
I don't know.
for a fact. Part of it was more meant to be like a
I think part of it is like a. I think part. Oh, it was a joke. Yeah. I think part of it. Well, you could call it virtue signaling. Mm-hmm. You know, he's like just trying to save base, but whatever. Maybe it depends how you personally choose to read what he's saying. But at the end, he basically talks about like a lot of his regrets when it comes to Nike and a lot of the things, and he talks about how how he treated the child labor scandals and stuff like that, and just like the whole underpaying of those people.
But they're real,
or I guess the truth, or whatever.
I'm joking. I'm just messing.
But yeah, he just felt like he was a little too stern. He was too aggressive and too rude about it, because like he talks about how personally like he wanted these people to make more money, right, than they actually did.
But he couldn't pay them more, right? Because then it'd be like,
He wanted to up the pay, but then like governments of those places would get involved. I don't know if this is true. This is what he said. He said governments would get involved and be like, "You cannot do this. This will fundamentally ruin our economy or shift our economy." Like a shoe worker in a warehouse cannot make more than a doctor, I think is what it said. I don't know. It was something like that.
Right.
It's like you will fundamentally change our economy. Like, we just can't do that, and stuff like that. So it's like I can kind of understand, but I think a lot of it, it is a little criminal. But just reading just his hard work and stuff like that, and just everything about it.
Well, I bet it's certainly inspiring as well, just to hear somebody.
It's inspiring. I think every potential person that wants to start a business, and yes, I'm looking at you. If you want to do drop shipping on Amazon, you idiots, or make a clothing line for the 10th billion time and post it on Instagram.
I'm making. Yes, I started a clothing line. Post your orders now, and then they make $5 a year.
Exactly.
Anyways.
Yeah, but I think it's a good book. Apparently, it's gonna become like a Netflix miniseries.
Yeah, that's cool.
At some point, it was bought by that. Mm-hmm. It's a great book. Like, I don't like reading at all. I was hooked on that book for like all of like.
See, I don't like reading at all either. But this was like I try to read literature, like old literature, because it's like interesting to me, but it's often hard to get into. And this book, sorry, East of Eden struck with me. Quick question. How much time do we have?
We're one.
Does Luke need to go?
Do you want to stop now?
No, I don't need to go. I'm just really tired.
We can keep going. I don't. Really
I wanted to ask if we want to take 10 minutes to talk about WandaVision. To wrap it up.
WandaVision spoilers. Boom, 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 boom. WandaVision spoilers.
And then this will be the end of the podcast.
WandaVision spoilers. WandaVision spoilers. Turns out Wanda was dead the entire time. And Luke Skywalker.
So I'll give a real warning here.
Was Iron Man.
I'll give a real warning here. If you don't want WandaVision spoiled for you, we know it just came out. In fact, it came out the day we're recording. Well, actually.
Yeah, so then, like, when we talk about things like the Hulk being full frontally nude in the show for only a split second.
Right.
Like, we don't want you to feel like...
We don't want you to feel left out. Like, we don't want to spoil it so that you feel like, I missed that moment. Like, I didn't get to see it live myself.
Or Steve Rogers comes back from the dead to have intercourse with Bucky. Like, I don't want you guys to be like, oh my god, man.
I feel like
the craziest part about that one, Naimur, though, is that Steve Rogers actually died at the end. I did not get that I did not get that at all from the ending of the.
Well, if you
NDM.
saw the Super Bowl trailer of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, also, you'll have seen that they were doing his funeral.
I think the weirdest part though was instead of having Chris Evans come back to play old Steve Rogers, they just brought in Joe Biden. That was the weirdest part for me.
Yeah.
So
also the weird thing for me too, as well, is when Robert Downey Jr. was Tony Stark, but he was in his Sherlock Holmes costume, and then Benedict Cumberbatch came in as Sherlock Holmes
as also Sherlock Holmes, but playing Doctor Strange.
Yeah, and then it just felt really weird. It's just like I didn't like it. I thought it was a little forced, if you ask me.
Agreed.
And then when they kicked Brie Larson out of the MCU, that was weird
for being a woman. Obviously, I mean, there's no other reason.
Specifically for being a woman.
Yeah, and then this is just going to be the entire 10 minutes, isn't it?
No, we have to talk about it. Okay, so here is our spoiler warning. Skip to, like, the last, 30 seconds if you want to hear us sign off. It's just going to be us saying thanks for watching. But anyways, I would just skip this for now. Pause, come back to it later if you don't want spoilers. Let's talk about it.
Batman's parents dies within the first 5 minutes.
Stop. I don't know. Luke said you really enjoyed it. I also enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I just think, I noticed somebody brought this up on a TikTok, so it's not my original thought. I know a lot. We sometimes just absorb other people's things and then spout them out. So I'm not trying to do that. But somebody said they were talking about how Marvel has a problem with villains and how their villains often are just doing bad things because they want to. And I think that applies here too. Like Agatha just does evil because she wants power.
I think it does, feels but I don't think it was. I also don't think it was supposed to be about the villains. I think it was always just supposed to be about Wanda.
I know, but there's no reason you can't create. There's no reason you can't create an interesting villain because that just tells you more about the character.
When you think
the
about
biggest villain is your grief.
I mean,
I hate you, Naimur.
The biggest villain is her coming to terms of reality.
To be honest, though, she's like 20 or 21, like in canon. She's like our age. So think about losing.
She looks like she's 80. No, she looks like she's in her 40s when she has the family in Modern Family.
Well, because she changed herself. I'm talking about like in universe, in canon. She's like 20 or 21. She's young.
Does that include the 5-year time jump, or is that?
Well, no, because she died. Because she wasn't there. So no.
Or like 16.
What?
She got snapped. She got snapped.
Yeah, but that doesn't count.
It
doesn't count though.
We'll count she's 27. We'll say she's 27.
That's not how it works.
Naimur, why are you trying to age her up so that
I'm sure she's actually 27 in real life, if not older.
Yeah, but we're not talking about real life. We're talking about in canon.
They'll just use they'll just use that excuse. Guess what? Vision's won. Okay, so technically she's a groomer.
Yeah. Yeah. What about it? She should be
right. That's your conclusion, dude. She's 32 years old.
Yeah, there's no way she could play.
But that's shocking to me a little bit. Like I feel like.
But no, but 20s, the character is 21 or 22. Like,
okay, Luke, you can keep telling us that, but that doesn't
make it any less creepy
that she's touching a 1-year-old.
Who cares?
Naimur's trying to discount what I'm saying because the actress is older, but that's also not the point of
Luke, he's obviously not serious. He's obviously not seriously trying to argue.
Honestly, now that you said she's 21, ruins the show for me. Don't like it anymore. Thank you, Luke.
Luke, honestly,
every time I see Scarlet Witch, I hate her now. I hate her.
Luke, I get what you're saying, where you're like, it's a character piece on her, but I feel like I always hate that argument where it's like, oh, it didn't do good on that thing because it was focusing on this thing. It's like a good.
I do agree with you. Yeah. I do agree with you. I do feel like I'm just trying to give an excuse as to why the.
Oh, I mean, it makes sense when Marvel did it.
It does feel like the villains were shoehorned in because Marvel needs a villain, but the villain couldn't just be Wanda herself. And then we can see the outside, like, talking about how, she's doing all this evil stuff to these people. Not evil, she's doing all this stuff to these people who, like, are being held captive. And then Vision, I guess, would be figuring it out, and Wanda would be the actual quote-unquote villain. Because they didn't actually have to be a villain.
Right.
Yeah,
I wish...
But Disney is not, Anyway.
Yeah, I think it's the whole idea of... So what was their goal with the show, right? It's like it's like it could be different. Like now after the fact, we're like, oh, it's Wanda's grief. That's what it was marketed as the whole time. I was like, no, it wasn't.
What was
it was
really
really marketed as? Like the interviews were like, oh my god, we're gonna have cameos from big actors, Luke Skywalker level, and then we're gonna have like these things, and oh my god, that engineer person that I kind of referenced. Oh, I'm so excited for you guys to know who that is.
I definitely think they did a bad job of putting it in like these red flags for people. Like, why would you even attempt to lead people on, even if it's just to keep people interested? Like, that is the worst thing you should do. Like, I know people are arguing they weren't trying to do that. They did that on accident. Why on earth would you hire Evan Peters to play a Quicksilver character and then be like, it's not actually Quicksilver? See, I mean, it could still be, but the thing is, like, why would you do that?
There's more of a thing to it. I think there's more to it, though.
No, I know there's more to it. It just feels like there was no, like, huge payoff to it, so people feel like they were led on and then just kind of, like, thrown in the dust.
Maybe it's because, personally, I think they don't want to reveal the big stakes in the shows.
In a TV show, yeah.
In the movies.
I do like that we actually still have Agatha around, though, so we can actually bring her back for
I can see that being a Clarice
an interesting
kind of Elector type relationship. Yeah.
I think for that, so my biggest drawbacks with the show, again, were the theories, right? It's like, everyone was like, it's almost a certain that Doctor Strange is going to be in there. It's certain. Because, like, it makes sense, the timing, all these things. Like, he's probably the only one that can defeat Agatha.
Right.
Whatever. Maybe it's Mephisto, crazy, the demon, yada, yada, all that stuff like that, right? And so... like, when it came to that stuff, it's like, oh, so where is there more, right? Like, what's that more of? And so it's like, you're just like, oh, my gosh, what can this do? And then I don't think I'd be as mad that there is no payoff for the fact that the first 3 episodes of the show were literally just, I'm not going to say garbage, but it was just pointless.
The pacing was
not pointless.
Was kind of slow on the beginning.
Why they did it. Yeah, I understand why they did it, right? They want to like give the atmosphere, right? Like, oh my God, look at it! It's just like it's like
to establish something's falling apart. You sometimes need to see it intact in the first place, right? I just think they might have dragged that part on a little long.
That could have been an episode. That could have been an entire episode.
I don't think
maybe
so.
An episode and a half.
I like how they did it.
Really?
I think my
the issues start arising in episode 3. What is the point?
The what?
The issues start arising in is it episode? Yeah, it's in episode.
Well, they don't really start arising in episode 3.
Yeah, it does.
Well, no, not really. I mean, Wanda starts losing control,
the radio's like, Wanda, can you hear me? Wanda,
yeah, but you're talking about issues as in the hex falling apart. I'm talking about issues as in, like, showing Wanda is not really very good right now, or showing that things aren't normal. Are those not issues? Are those not plot points? It happens in the first 2 episodes. That's why those first 2 episodes.
What are the plot points are you talking about?
You know, like when
in the first episode where the person's choking.
Yeah,
she's doing that.
Great. A 30.
But I know,
clip
I agree.
It's like a
30-second clip in a 20-minute episode, so it feels so incredibly slow. And like, if your goal was to show that this world isn't as nice as it seems to be, it seems weird to just spend the entire episode just being like.
And then the second episode, right, if I'm not mistaken, does the similar thing, and it's like, oh my God, Vision, are we pregnant? Oh my God, we're pregnant. Oh my God. And then like he's like, oh, but like how is that possible? And he starts questioning. Then they go outside, and then like a dude comes out of like a well, and she's like, no. And then they just repeat, right?
I think even the episode where Vision gets reabsorbed into the walls of the hex or whatever, is so boring on his end. He literally finds Darcy. They hop in a car, and they spend like 5 minutes with them, but that's all that happens. They get in a car and start driving back. They spend 5 minutes on that, and it feels so unnecessary. I think they wasted time.
I was so confused in that post-credit scene where, like, you know, where Monica is like, Monica's like trying to get into the den, and then Pietro was like, Snooper's gonna snoop. I thought that as, oh my God, they're gonna work together. That would be so cool.
But then
did he knock her out at the end of that?
He didn't knock her out. He was just like, Snooper's gonna snoop, and that just ends.
Okay.
So all that happens. Maybe I missaw it, but yeah, it was like, Snooper's gonna snoop. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. They'll work together. That's pretty cool. And then like it doesn't even show Monica at all in the next episode.
Yeah.
It just literally just shows the flashback stuff, which I'm fine if you want to devote an episode to flashback. But when there was just so much excess already, why? You know, like in these final 4 episodes, where the story is actually being told, why? You know, this should have been done earlier on. This should have been done like, you know, like something like that.
I wanted to talk about something you brought up, Naimur, how you were talking about it felt like all of these pieces were in place for certain things to happen. I think other franchises do a good job of adding these small details into the background that let the people explore like the lore of the world and all of this stuff. And Marvel put all those details in, but they turned out to have nothing. Like, there was like all of these Mephisto references. For what reason? Like, why were we convinced that there was like potentially a reference to another witch, Arcana Jones, I think is her name? Like, it seemed like they were maybe like making a reference there, and then it turned out like, oh well, no, it was just like a throwaway reference. Like, there's no actual substance to that reference. Well, I feel like in other shows they like try to like, if they add a small detail into the background, it's like at least has some meaning. It's not just there for like the fan service. Like we read the comic
Jones
books
thing was, in my opinion, always pretty weak. Like, she was holding a yellow flower.
Well, also her last name is Jones, Dottie Jones, and her husband is the exact same name of her husband in the comics.
Okay.
Ralph?
Yeah. No, or whatever his... No, it's not Ralph. It's like Philip, I think.
Whatever, yeah. I don't know. Right. I still think it's...
And she has blonde hair, just like the character in the show, like, or in the comics. It's like, so...
I don't know. When she wasn't in it for like 2 or 3
no,
or 4
it was obvious she wasn't going to be...
Obviously,
at that point, I knew she wasn't going to be important. But my thing is, why just do these little details for fan service? It feels so... unsatisfying to me.
Also, it doesn't answer questions that are just seemingly simple questions like, does Monica Rambeau still have her powers? I don't know, because didn't she get them from the hex? So when the hex fell down, does that mean?
Yeah, but it changed her. It changed her.
I think it changed her fundamentally. So I think she does still have them.
Yeah, that was kind of answered in the show. When they said that it fundamentally changed who she is.
I know it wasn't obvious.
I didn't know if that was just like it was a temporary thing though.
Right, because the hex did go away and we didn't see her use it afterwards. But yes, she is now Photon or whatever the superhero's name is.
Okay, that's fine. That's cool. That's dope. But it's just like, man, dude, it's just super. Like they rushed the kids being born. Literally, they aged them up 5 years in the span of like a minute. Like why? You could have just built it out slower, you know? Like, I don't know. I just like, I think also maybe the episode length. If it wasn't 30 minutes, if it was actually like 45 minutes, right?
And maybe if we didn't have to wait 8 weeks for it all to come out, right? Or whatever it is, like
that too. But like,
I hate that criticism. That's stupid.
What? Opinion. Having to wait 8 weeks for it?
No, not.
No, I think it's totally justified, bro.
Complaining about weekly releases. I think it's.
No, I'm not complaining about weekly releases. I'm complaining about weekly releases for a show that is giving us like 20 minutes, and the first 4 episodes could be summed up in a 1-paragraph summary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I started watching WandaVision with my roommate. Literally started at what episode I was on because he was like, "Oh, what happens at the beginning?" I was like, "Don't worry about it. Not a big deal." Mm-hmm. It's literally, and he was fine. He understood everything. Like it's just like it's pointless.
I wish they would have.
It's not about understanding. It's about tension, in my opinion.
How? But Luke, there's like 2 moments of tension in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, but 2 moments of tension still adds a lot of tension. Like the moments of tension that it was still adds tension.
That's the worst pacing of all time then. Because at that rate then, if they're doing like 2 minutes out of like a 30-minute episode, that means in like a 2-hour movie, the only tension is like 15 minutes.
Also, weren't those episodes shorter? Those first 2?
Yeah, they're like 20. They're like 22 minutes.
27 minutes to like 7 minutes for credits. Like 20
so 20 minutes.
Still a lot.
I wish they would have.
Yeah, it's still a lot.
I think this is a more consistent claim that you guys will all agree with. I wish they would have dived into her, like Wanda's basically controlling of the people. Like we did get like the people like waking up and then being like hateful of her and then her saving them. But I wish, Agatha was like literally said, like, you trapped these people here. You are a horrible person. And that's the last we ever basically get any conflict from that. It's like, I would have loved to hear, like, also, Wanda, like, realizing, like, she is the villain or something like that. Or, like, just diving into that more than, oh, she saves the day and now all is forgiven.
Yeah.
Like,
it honestly feels like the show truly began in episode 3. And so, like, when it ends, right, it just feels like there needs to be 2 more episodes. Just 2 more. Like, you're so close. Mm-hmm. Generally so close, just having it feel fulfilling, right? So it's like 2 more on top of that, right? So, like, maybe, like, would it be, like, 11 episodes? So then, like, the thing about that is because, like, you know, the story starts going on episode 3, minutely, albeit. Like, when is the episode where they finally start showing Monica Rambeau? That's episode 4, right?
Or is that
that's episode 3. Isn't that the episode with the? That's the episode with the magic, isn't it?
No, that's episode 2. Is that not?
Yeah, no, I'm the episode where Monica comes in. That's the one with the magic because she was at the she was at the meeting.
I'm pulling it up.
In the show in episode 2. I'm talking about when they show her like reappearing. You know, showing sword.
Oh, like her flashback episode or whatever.
Yeah,
that was episode 4. Thing.
Yeah, where they show Jimmy Woo and stuff. Yeah, so for that, I wish that, like, that's maybe not starting there, but, like, that's effectively when the show begins, like, episode 4, right? So it's, like, 5 total episodes of actual story. And so it's, like, you know, we have an idea of what Wanda is doing, right? She's creating this hex. She's controlling these people, right? And we effectively know how she does it. She's freaking Scarlet Witch. Like, she has the ability to do a lot of things. Like, yes. So then when we spend the penultimate episode, which is usually supposed to be, like, one of the biggest episodes, right? Like, you're like, oh my god, like, whoa. It's just a flashback episode. It's an episode that should be put in from, like, let's pretend a season is 10 episodes. It's an episode that should be put in like episode 6 or 7. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you mean. So we're building up. We're taking it back a little bit before we just ramp it up completely.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm saying if there's 3 more episodes beyond, like, the 9 episodes or 2 more episodes, then I feel like I'd be much more fulfilled. Because I'd be like, okay, you could introduce a little bit more, and a little bit more, and a little bit more.
I think...
Way more. Because then the final episode just felt like it had to answer so many things at once. And it just didn't... It felt rushed and just like...
Yeah,
wait, what about the questions about this
I'm
person?
curious... Like, Luke brought this question up, but, like, did the people get out of the hex? Like, we literally didn't see them after they all scattered. Away. They just scattered, and that's it. Like, I guess that's a form of closure, but I would have liked to see them, like, walk out.
Well, then we saw them
after. They start calling their families or stuff like that. No, we didn't.
After Wanda had completely destroyed it, we saw them.
Like, walking in the street?
Do you remember? No, staring at her. Because they remembered.
No, yeah, I'm talking about when they scattered. Remember? They left. Oh, yeah. Like, she's like, I'm going to help you escape. And then they just run away, and then we never see them again. Like, that feels rushed. Like, what happened to those people? Obviously, they got out. But it's like...
Also, didn't show anything about White Vision. If you're going to show a post,
he's going to come back. He's obviously coming back.
Yeah, I know he will, but I didn't realize if he was dead or not. I was very confused.
The theory is he's going to get the Mind Stone.
Yeah.
To turn himself into the true villain. Or true villain, true vision.
But the Mind Stone wasn't destroyed, though.
The Infinity Stone.
It's an atom. How is he going to find the Mind Stone?
Oh, well, I guess, yeah, it is actually.
It literally said it in the line. Thanos was like, I reduced him to atoms.
Mm-hmm. Well, who knows?
So they're in the world, but they're literally atoms. How is he ever going to find it?
I don't know.
Thanos said he did that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't we revert that somehow?
But then Steve Rogers went back and gave them all back.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. That was the whole point. They got the stones back then.
Yeah, that's
so.
True.
I guess we're gonna have to wait until the Ant-Man movie till we see Vision again. Yeah,
maybe he'll be in.
I think looking at the finale as one episode, just looking at it as a finale, it's like it's entertaining because you look at it and there's fight scenes and there's like all the characters you like. Yeah. But looking at honestly, the whole season as a whole, you start to go, there's so many characters involved, and then you get to the end and it's like Agatha's evil. Wanda doesn't really have to confront the horrible thing she's done because, it was just an accident. And then she saves the day and all is forgiven and Vision solves his problem by just saying a few words. Like, I'm summing it up very, like, simplified, but it just feels empty.
There's a funny meme. It was of it was just like on Twitter. It was just like White Vision and regular Vision be like. It was just Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, we saw this.
Like, evil twin. Yeah. Whatever from like the end of Scott Pilgrim. Like, that scene is so funny. I just find it so funny. I love Scott Pilgrim. Better than WandaVision for sure.
Right.
By far.
Yeah.
Oh, what? I was making a joke because a lot of people come out of Scott Pilgrim thinking Scott Pilgrim is in the right, not realizing he's supposed to be like a bad person, like he's a horrible person to all of his.
He is a horrible person.
Romantic interest. I know, but so yeah, people
the same way people see like Leonardo DiCaprio's character in The Wolf of Wall Street as like an ideal person.
Well, I was making the joke to Luke.
Think, Fight Club means be more masculine.
I was making the joke to Luke that some people, I feel like there's somebody out there that came out of 7 thinking Frank. Oh my god, I'm blanking. Why am I saying Frank?
You gonna say Frank
Spacey's
Underwood?
character. Yes, okay. I was. Kevin Spacey's character is in the right. There are people that come out of that movie probably thinking that. I mean, not very many, I'll be honest. But anyways,
I know we hate Kevin Spacey, which is how you should always start a sentence.
About him.
I know we hate Kevin Spacey, but which is how you should always start a sentence. But
what
American
a good
Dream.
Actor,
is it American Dream? No, American Beauty. American Beauty is a great film. I think you two should watch it. Add it to the list.
Okay.
I don't know how I entirely feel about the idea of should you watch something of a vilified person,
artists,
terrible person,
are separated from the art in my mind.
Yeah, I would agree with that to an extent.
Fair enough.
Except for Dr. Seuss, burn all the books, and that's how we're gonna end the podcast for today.
Kind of, unless if the
I'm joking.
Art is of the person doing what they were canceled for.
Oh yeah, duh.
Well, even that. No, I'm kidding.
Looks like, but sometimes I enjoy that content.
Sometimes it could be
like if a rapper raps about murdering someone and then they get arrested for murdering someone, then I feel like you shouldn't probably listen to the song.
Are we talking about Eminem right now?
Eminem. Why did he say it like the candy? Like, I know it's the exact. It's pronounced the same, but the way he said it, it sounded like he was talking about the candy. Are we talking about M and M?
He's whiter than Eminem, which is even funnier. Isn't that ironic that a white person mispronounced a white rapper's name?
Hey, it's hard, okay? It's a foreign name to Luke.
Don't you guys know that Eminem is actually in Zulu actually means white boy?
I doubt that.
Maybe, I don't know, but
he's joking.
Yeah, American Dream, just its whole themes of perceptions and all that stuff like that, and the idea. I'm sure it could get lost on a lot of people because it's effectively just about this dude who literally just stops caring in his life, and he just lives for fun. Right, like he has a shitty marriage, he has all these crappy things, but he just doesn't care anymore, and he just wants to have fun, and so he just starts hanging out with like the high school stoner dude who just sells drugs. And just like, he's like living fun.
Sounds problematic, honestly.
Like well, there is a scene where one of the people thinks he's giving the dude head, who's like a high schooler, because it looks like from the angle of the window, right, he's like giving fellatio because he's shirtless, but he's not. He's just like like rolling a paper or something.
Right.
And it's just like weird looking at that now, thinking about
yeah,
yikes,
yeah, that movie.
But
But
it's a good movie.
I've heard.
I think you should watch it, whatever it's on. It's a good movie. He won an Oscar for Best Actor.
Like Luke was saying, he was a good actor. It's unfortunate.
I mean, he still technically is a good actor.
Yeah. No, he was.
Bro, when he was
a good actor.
Frank Underwood's the name of his character in House of Cards.
Yes, I was about to say that earlier when I was talking about Seven.
Yeah. So like, when
I loved that show.
Him, like,
I just stopped watching it because I just couldn't.
Oh yeah, every time I was watching so I watched John Hamm's like acceptance speech or whatever, because like everybody was like, excited. I think he was nominated that year, Kevin Spacey, or Bryan. It was either one of the years that Bryan Cranston won, and Bryan Cranston was like, or it was just like Kevin Spacey, House of Cards, and everyone's like clapping. I'm like, hey, yikes. But yeah. If you can separate the art from the artist, watch American Beauty.
Right. And we're hoping you separate this podcast from us, because none of the things we say in this podcast are anything we actually believe in. So,
except I'm disappointed there was not a full-on sex scene with the Hulk involved in WandaVision. So, I think and American Beauty, honestly. In any movie. In any movie. I think it should be in every movie. We should forever now know that scene in a movie as Hulk's scene.
Just imagine just watching any movie, the rules of and Hulk just walks in. He just has to walk in.
It's the rule. It's like the rule of thirds, except the rule of Hulks, where it's just you have to have a scene of Hulk having intercourse.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, thank you guys for watching.
Yeah. Okay.
Remember, have intercourse with Hulk, and don't say yes or no to drugs. Just stare in their face.
Agreed.
Maybe give them a stern look, like But it could also be a look of consideration. Have a great evening, or morning, or afternoon.
Also, I don't know. I'm sad. Goodbye.